I knew Paz and the professor. I knew who they really were all along.
'Cause
I used them.
I suppose you were the one that brought them to Columbia in the first place, huh?
Guilty as charged. Paz wasn't just CIA, you know. She was working for the KGB too. And for this cipher group. In other words, she was a triple agent.
You knew all of this?
Wait, let me finish.
Welcome everybody to the epilogue episode. In this episode, it'll be a bunch of cuts to the end of vehicle battles, Fulton recoveries. We're gonna get enough parts to build Zeke, Metal Gear Zeke. I want to see what happens and information we get when we complete our first Metal Gear, because Metal Gear Rex I thought was the first Metal Gear, not Zeke. And second, we have a date with Paz, so we have to figure that out. And we're gonna start the episode with by going on a date with Paz.
How's Paz doing?
Okay so far. Still shocked about being lied to by Zadornov, but she's actually getting along great with the crew here at Mother Base.
Oh, that's good.
That's good to hear.
Still, it's gotta be depressing for a girl her age to be cooped up on an offshore plant all day, even if it is only temporary. I bet she'd love it if you took her out somewhere once in a while.
Okay, so it's not really a date with Paz. It's kind of just, would you call that? Yeah, you're not calling that a date. No one's got any new information. Oh, that's right, Dr. Strangelove. We'll look at that after our date. We should just wear it, or should we wear the tuxedo? Interesting. Oh, we can't take that. I don't think we need the radar. So we'll also bring lime soda. Oh wait, we already brought lime soda. ZC. Oh, you can only have one soda. Oh, that's why. And then I don't think we can bring any weapons. No. So why could I bring a magazine? Oh, wow. I'm scared. I'm nervous. Oh, God, I need to leave. Any secrets? Any interesting oh, there's no more white flowers. Is that because the boss is actually dead? I'm sorry. What are we supposed to do? Okay. Hello? Pause? What's going on? What are we supposed to be doing?
You know,
oh,
we are
Square.
finally alone, Snake.
Was Square always something?
Why don't you leave the radio alone for now?
Oh, it's because I'm trying to...
You don't want to talk to me?
Do I have to change the options?
What? Huh?
I'm sorry. What? I don't, And now let me put the... Yeah, it's on codec call. But now I can't call it. But if I go next to her...
You know, we are finally alone, Snake.
I thought
What?
You stepped into me. Oh, what? What just happened? Okay, I'm very... Oh, from behind. I'm very confused at... I thought maybe it's because I tapped it, and then I was like, okay, maybe I hold it. Okay, I was like, maybe you do it from behind. What? Items needed. Something Paz would like. Any of that?
Room for one more? Over already?
Snake, we fitted Zeke with its own AI pod.
We don't have
We were having
Zeke.
trouble
What the?
adjusting the AI, but Dr. Strangelove was able to get it up and running.
Strangelove.
Why the surprise, Snake?
Whoa, we're an army without borders. We need a deterrent against foreign intervention. That's what Zeke is for. It may even prove necessary to...
I'm not against deterrence itself. The problem is when a nation comes to rely on it. All that does is force a burden on its people. The same people that constitute the nation itself. The existence of nations is detrimental to man. That's why I, one without a nation, see potential in MSF. But power is required for you to distance yourself from nations. I will do whatever I can to assist with that.
Glad to hear it.
And I merely lent Huey a helping hand. I will not give Zeke an AI like hers.
I wouldn't expect you to.
Maybe the date at the beginning of the episode wasn't the best idea. But who knows? I'm not monetized, so I'm very confused. I'm very confused right now about what the what just happened. Oh, what'd we get? An ADM65 design. Okay, that's new. Oh, and Wild Dog as a volunteer. A smoke shell. Nice. Wild Dog ain't that good. What was that date with Paz? I gotta see. Is it because I took too long, or what? There was nothing else I could do.
Let's get this mission started. Complete the mission and proceed to the Fulton recovery.
Yeah. We know what a Fulton recovery is.
You know, Snake, you're right. As long as we're soldiers without borders, we're going to be a target. We need our own deterrent.
Yeah, we're going to be stepping into a lot of different conflicts as we roam the world, each one unique, and with its own set of geography, ideologies, and politics. If we're going to intervene in those kinds of situations, we need the threat of a Metal Gear.
Unless we want to end up like Che Guevara did in Bolivia.
Well said. Our army without borders doesn't have a land to call home. We're nomads, wanderers. What we need now is a sheepdog to guard our flock.
Right.
Maybe it's not the way the boss would have gone about it, but there are places in this world that need us, and soldiers that need MSF. And as long as we're needed, we'll keep on moving. Ours is a journey that never ends. We're the real peace walkers.
So, does that make Big Boss the bad guy now, or is he the good guy? And Solid Snake is the bad guy. Nothing about our date. We'll do that. You know what? We can do it. We'll just do one and then go.
AI stands for artificial intelligence. It refers to a man-made machine possessing an intellect on par with that of a human being.
Is that even possible?
Possible. You've seen it with your own eyes. What the AI weapons are capable of. How Peace Walker carried out the boss's will in the end. No mere machine could ever choose to sacrifice itself like that.
I just can't see how a bunch of circuits and switches could have a will of its own.
It's called the ghost in the machine, Snake. And it exists.
The ghost in the machine. Alright, we need to put back on the sneaking suit. We're gonna do chaff grenade. We're gonna pull the supply marker up. I don't think we'll need anything else. Bolton, love box, ration, recurring. Yeah, we're good.
Your current objective is to retrieve the prisoners.
No problemo. Right, I've got 5. There can't be more than 5. Whatchamacallit, right?
Watch it. There might be bombs planted next to those prisoners.
Are you serious? I didn't... Oh, okay. I was like, I didn't bring... No, I wasn't.
You did
No,
it. Keep it up.
no. What was that bullshit? Why was the exit right there? I wasn't done. I wasn't done exploring. Dude, that's upsetting. I hate
Snake,
leaving early.
we've got a problem. Zadornov's not in his cell.
What?
He must have used his prosthetic as a blowtorch to cut through the bars, but we've managed to narrow down his location using a transmitter we planted on him. I'm adding a new mission. Find the KGB agent Zadornov.
Okay. We're just gonna go do another mission. So we actually get a new... Oh! A bunch of new missions.
Snake, Zadornov has escaped custody. Find him.
Oh, we will. So I was wondering about that. Did we just not chop off his hand? We should have just chopped his hand off. Alright, and then we'll do another Strange Love.
What did you mean by the ghost in the machine?
Oh, that. It's a term coined by the philosopher Gilbert Ryle. You've heard of Descartes, yes?
I think, therefore I am.
That is the one. Descartes espoused the dualistic theory of mind and body. He believed that our thinking minds exist in a separate dimension from our bodies, which are governed by the laws of physics. But if that were true, then couldn't you say that a mechanical body, inhabited by a ghost mind, is a human being? Ryle criticized Descartes on those grounds, saying such a thing surely wouldn't be human.
Why'd you bring it up?
I wasn't thinking of Ryle in particular when I said it. I simply thought that if a person is composed of a machine and a ghost, perhaps the opposite is true as well. Perhaps, by placing a ghost inside a machine, we could, in effect, give birth to a new person.
And that was your idea for the boss AI?
The moment you ripped the memory board out, the mammal pod ceased to function. It should have been dead. And yet, Peace Walker righted itself, singing a song of peace. I couldn't help but feel that her soul had come to inhabit Peace Walker.
Oh, shit. At the very end, it finally did become Peace Walker. We're gonna keep the same stuff. So we're searching around Mother Base to find him. Oh, now we're actually starting Chapter 5. Oh, I thought we were already in Chapter 5. Chapter 5 was kind of like a, whatchamacallit? Oh, we're like right at the beginning.
Find Zadornov and bring him back here with Fulton recovery.
Alright, let's see if he's in here. Oh, no, but we got a friend in here. Alright, we've been here enough. Is he in this room? Oh, he is.
Maintain heightened alert.
What are you doing, my guy? You're
Try
one of
using
us.
Fulton recovery on him.
Come in, HQ.
Head for the recovery zone. We'll pick you up there.
Again, I don't know how I'm Fulton recovering
You did it. Keep
through
it
a
up.
roof. Ooh, nice. Oh shit! I was about to let the dog out, but
So, you found me.
It wasn't hard. What are you up to anyway?
Just going for a stroll.
Kaz, I've got Zadornov returning home.
Acknowledge, Snake.
all right. Lucy.
Package for you, boss.
What?
Yeah, looks like a cassette tape. Don't worry, it's clean. No trace of explosives or anything. Return address just says Eva.
Eva?
Someone you know?
An old
What?
acquaintance.
What? Eva?
Oh, the plot thickens. Tidings from an old flame?
Don't start, Kaz. Anyway, I'll check it out later.
Okay, just don't go running off after this chick. We can't afford for you to be distracted right now.
Dude, Eva's back? Oh, okay, we'll go back to Mother Base. Ooh, aerial mine. Oh, yes, rank 4. Gonna put it in intel. Need to get that medical team up. Just gonna put you in the combat. That's right, we gotta move. Alright, we'll put you in combat. Oh no, that's number 50. We'll keep him. Who else is over their limit? Oh, shit. Alright. Let's get the Fulton Recovery System 4 going. Oh yes, those are ready to go. I hate that I can't like do the briefing files or anything throughout outside the mission. So new Fulton Recovery, new marksman, and a tank that we can get. So we got that tank. Alright. Do we have the BTR? I don't care. I don't think
You're in
we
for some heavy combat with this one. Try and make it.
Okay, battle,
Combat.
RPG, PKM. So just so we can have some better accuracy, we're gonna go with the M16, and then just so we can triple make sure that. Sorry, just to triple make sure that we can hit the tank with the missile. I'm taking the FM shaft. That blah blah. Yep. Everything good there. All right. See you when I capture it.
The enemy leader's out cold. Bring him in.
I don't have Fulton Recovery, so why did I even bother doing that? Oh, okay. I guess I do have Fulton Recovery for him. So, I guess we do get him. Yeah, -5. I'm fine with that. Can't put him in the mess hall. Can't put him in combat. Gonna have to put him in medicine. How do I increase the staff? Come on, something good. A stun. I think we already have stun boxes. Yeah, so we got the tank battle. We did not get the MI-24.
Snake, that's a hot.
Again, Mark 22. This time, let's redo this. And Great Curry. Yeah, Great Curry. What? He's got a new one for Grenada.
You got a sec?
What's up?
Prime Minister Gary of Grenada is asking the
Grenada?
UN to set up an agency to study the UFO problem.
Grenada? That island in the Caribbean?
He gave the press a bunch of photos. Says they prove the existence of UFOs. One of them caught my eye.
That's the...
Yep. The weapon Huey called the chrysalis.
Kaz, this is the photo I gave to Chico. He said something about selling it off as a photo of a UFO.
Looks like it found its way into the pages of a magazine.
But why would the Prime Minister of a country believe tabloid trash like that?
There's been reports all over the Americas of abductions and cattle mutilations lately.
You think that's true?
I think the CIA might be involved.
If they are, then Gary could be.
I know.
Yeah, who
If he
spells
digs too
Gary
deep,
like
he's
that?
gonna get himself into trouble.
But Grenada's right next door to Cuba.
I guess that would make it tough for the CIA to intervene. in a sense.
Upsetting the domestic balance of power could cause it to go red all of a sudden.
True. Well, in any case, it's not like we can do anything about it. Just wanted to let you know.
Gotcha. I'll be careful not to let any more photos leak.
Hold on. I'm gonna put it up on screen. Who spells Gary like that? Let me know down in the comments if your name is Gary spelled like that. That is preposterous. Love. Puppy love.
Hey, what's with all this sighing? You're not your usual self.
Oh, Snake.
Something on your mind?
Huh? No, not really. I guess. Hey, Snake. Girls are funny, you know? You can never tell what they're thinking. They're always doing their own thing. Maybe they really are different from us men.
Whoa, what's this about now? Chico, do you have a crush on somebody?
No, it's not that. I just...
What? Go ahead, you can talk to me.
Whenever I talk to Paz, my heart starts pounding and everything I say comes out wrong.
Paz? I guess she is pretty close to your age.
That ever happened to you, Snake?
Well, sure. Happens to everybody.
Well, how do I talk to her?
That is a tough one. Why don't you try, talking to her like you talk to everybody else?
No, it doesn't work. I freeze up every time I'm around her. Our eyes meet and my face starts burning for some reason.
It's like living on the battlefield. You just have to get used to it. You're nervous at first, but the more you're out there, the more natural it feels. Get your courage up and go talk to her more often.
Oh, okay. Man, girls are more full of mysteries than UMAs.
Oh, you got that right.
Aw, poor Chico. Poor little Chico. Interesting. So we only have as many as we've unlocked for this mission. For this timeline of mission. Because I was going to do another Strangelove, but we don't have access to Strangelove in this part of the timeline. Yeah. Dude, yes.
The enemy leader's out cold. Bring him in.
Oh, I was wondering where he was gonna land. I like how he just falls out. Alright guys, we're getting more mechs. More mechs is good. That means we can get through the outer ops quicker. Okay, let's go back to Mother Base because I do want to see what mech parts we need. Alright, we do have the AH-56A. Alright, we need more walk units, which is the C, letter C, and it's color pink. Alright, so for this one, I think I'm also gonna want to bring... I'm gonna go with the same strategy I had in the final battle.
Pull out all the unlocked memory boards. Pull out the memory boards. All the unlocked boards will have icons over them.
Oh, we almost had 4 pinks.
Snake.
How did we not get any walk unit? Okay, +3. That's AI parts.
Bad news, Snake. Zador...
Oh, he's on the loose? I'm good. Was I not? Oh, you can't destroy it. I don't want to do that fight. I think that fight sucks for trying to get parts. Duly noted, that's how it works. Oh, I skipped over the pupa.
I've never seen anything...
Okay, so you just have to hit it a little bit, and then we destroy it. Oh, we got an S rank on that. Hell yeah. May or may not play depending on your progress through main ops.
Snake, the doctor...
Okay, we got one walk unit. So we'll do that one more time. And someone was saying something about the analyzer to use. Okay, hold on. They said something in the data files. Holy shit, there's a lot of stuff in the data files. All right, we'll listen to that a little bit. Yes, yes.
Snake, I'm proud to announce that preparations for Metal Gear Zeke are complete. We can activate it anytime.
We got it. The very first Metal Gear, everybody.
No need to thank
The
me.
very first
At
Metal
least now
Gear.
I can finally say I helped you with something. You can use it in outer ops too. Just select Zeke when you're forming your unit. Be sure to take it out for a field test.
Okay.
You can change weapons and check memory boards just like before. Use your observations from a field test to make any adjustments.
A work in progress, huh?
There's something I need to discuss with you, boss.
Get to the point, Kaz.
We recovered the nuclear warhead that was loaded onto Peace Walker from the bottom of Lago Kosibolka.
What?
Warheads are radioactive, even if they're relatively stable. If we just left it there, it would contaminate the lake, or fall into the hands of terrorists.
Creating another crisis.
Right. So while the White House is figuring out how to cover its ass, I thought we'd take some precautions.
What did you have in mind?
Load it onto Zeke.
What?
What else would we do with it? Zeke is our deterrent. To protect ourselves from nuclear attack, we need a nuclear weapon ourselves. Of course, if you're not on board, we could always dispose of it. But it won't be easy getting another nuke. This is a golden opportunity. We could always get rid of it later. Load it onto some fishing boat and leave it out in the middle of the ocean. No one would ever know it's there. But if you want to get rid of it, boss, we'll get rid of it.
No, don't. As long as there are nukes out there, we need one ourselves if we're going to be a world power.
I knew you'd see it that way, boss. So as long as we stand apart from nations, we need something to put us on equal footing. In a way, MSF is a country itself. And we just became the world's 7th nuclear power.
Nuclear power.
Uh-oh. That's dangerous talk right there. Yes. Nope. Zeke. Oh, look at our sweet boy. Oh, Zeke. Zeke. Oh, our sweet boy. Oh, we can just continue to make legs. Our sweet, sweet boy. Our sweet Metal Gear. We got a railgun. Okay. Paint color. Ooh. What is... the orange? No. You have to save my compass. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the theme of yellow. Yellow and orange, yellow and pink. Alright, we're gonna do yellow and purple. AI storage. Okay, what is this one? The control, we need more control. The mobility is alright. Yes, we did it, guys. Okay, that's one side objective down. We got Metal Gear Zeke.
Let's get this mission started. Complete the mission and proceed to the Fulton recovery point so we can get you back alive and well. Good luck out there.
Yeah, no problem. Alright, now we just start doing some of these other side missions, because I think we've got all the mechs. Well, we've got all the previous mechs now. And now we... Anything new? Yeah.
I gotta say, I'm surprised you helped us arm Metal Gear with nukes.
What of it?
Don't get me wrong, I'm grateful and all, but You sure about this? They may be for MSF self-defense, but they're still nukes. It's essentially the same thing as Peace Walker, which you despised.
See, that's exactly it.
What is?
You don't hide your motives. You tell the truth. That's what makes you different from those CIA bastards. They lay on the charm, win you over. And then, when things get hairy, they turn their backs on you.
I'm just telling it like it is.
Which is why I get the feeling that you wouldn't be stupid enough to use them. Okay, I'll come out and say it. I trust you.
You give me too much credit.
You think so? Besides, there's more uses for bipedal locomotion technology than weapons. We make it small enough, and it could have applications in robotics and prosthetic limbs. Maybe one day I'll even be able to walk.
Nice thought.
I want to stand on my own feet, be master of my own fate, and I'll use your strength to help me do it. If you don't mind, of course.
Nah, it's a fair enough deal.
Thanks. People can change, I know. But I trust you, Snake. I trust you to be the guy I know now.
It's crazy to think that his son would go to have an affair with his wife.
Let's say, hypothetically, there really was an intelligent machine. How would you prove it? What's the difference between a high-level computer and an AI?
It depends on what you choose to define as intelligence. For example, Snake, listen to my voice talking to you now. Suppose it were an AI.
Say what?
What if the living, breathing me sitting here drinking tea and talking to you were actually an AI, programmed to simulate my thoughts and my voice?
You're nuts.
No, I'm not. You couldn't prove I was a real human being, could you?
It'd be... No.
So if an AI is so advanced you can't tell it from the real thing, wouldn't you call that intelligence?
I'm not quite convinced.
But that's only one way to look at it. It's roughly how Dr. Turing explained artificial intelligence. The test I described is called the Turing test, in his honor.
Yeah, well, sounds like a bad joke to me. That singing monster of yours put me through hell. If I never meet one again, it'll be too soon.
Shame. And I was about to let an AI take my place in our conversation.
Don't even think about it.
Kind of what's going on right now. Now with Google VO3 you don't know, but before you could be like, yeah, that's AI, but now it's getting crazy.
Dr. Alan Turing is known as the father of computer science. It was he who formulated the basic theory of AI. During the war, he worked for GC and CS.
The government's cryptology school. The one that broke Enigma.
The very same. Without him, they might never have been able to decipher the Germans' code. But then, they arrested him.
Why? Weren't his some of the greatest contributions to winning the war?
Homosexuality was a crime in Britain back then, and he was gay. I know exactly how crushed he was. I feel it's my duty to further his AI research.
Like the Imitation Game, huh?
Huh. You know it then. The clue that inspired the Turing test came from a trifling little party game. You exchange written notes with another person behind a screen and try to guess their gender, whether they're a woman or a man, pretending to be a woman. It's surprisingly difficult to tell the difference. Man or woman, human or machine. What do the differences even mean? Dr. Turing was fascinated by the differences between men and women. Perhaps that's what led him to formulate his test.
Interesting. All right. Like I said, we're not going to do too... I want to keep it moving a little bit. Strangelove's Memoirs. Strangelove's Simulation. Operation Snake Eater Simulation? Interesting. The boss's final mission. Messages from Ava. Shit. All right. We're going to go with Sneaking Suit. And bye-bye. What? There's one more? Hello? Oh. I was like, wait, where? But I didn't realize that there was even a thing up there. I was wondering about that. I was like, where the hell? I didn't... Dude, there was no one... I didn't even realize... It's the places you can't reach that I'm like, oh, there surely can't be an enemy there.
Commencing mission. You're in for some heavy combat with this one. Try and make it back in one...
Alright, Strangelove, more about AI.
What if you hadn't used the boss as the model for the AI?
What do you mean?
If the end goal is MAD, it seems like there are more suitable models out there. A military chief of staff, or a nuclear technician, even the president.
Patriotism, leadership, good judgment. Each of those qualities is essential when deciding whether to launch a nuke. And she had them all.
Wouldn't the president, too?
It's not enough. She had the will for it.
Will?
Let me explain, Snake. Peace Walker is a standalone weapon. It has to decide on its own whether or not to launch a nuke. It can't turn to anyone else for advice. It can't do its job if it's not prepared to take sole responsibility for the fate of the world. I know of no other human being who could bear that burden.
That's it?
There were technical considerations, of course. To begin with, the female brain is a more appropriate model for an AI.
Oh, wait, the female brain?
Yeah, we need to finish this one.
What do you mean by that, modeling your AI after the female brain?
Snake, what is the human mind capable of that a computer is not?
Being lazy?
Interesting response. And not incorrect. But the answer I was looking for was empathy.
Empathy?
The ability to feel for others, to be more precise. Love for a child. Pity for the weak. Grief for the dead. All of these are particularly well developed in the female brain.
That's stretching it a little.
On the contrary, it's perfectly reasonable. The male brain, on the other hand, may be well suited for systematic thinking, but it's less able to empathize. In that sense, it's closer to a computer. So if your objective is to make the AI think more like a human...
You need to teach it how to empathize like a woman.
The novel, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, deals with this very problem. In the book, an empathy test is used to distinguish between machines and human beings. As machines become more and more advanced, our society will gradually become more and more systematic. Our cities will teem with robot-like people, unable to feel for others. We cannot allow that to happen. Computers must learn to empathize. The same goes for humans, only more so.
Well, what about yourself? You make these claims, and yet I've never seen you empathize with a real person.
It's true. Until now, I was a prisoner of death. It was my intention to die upon the completion of Mammal's development. She was my one reason to live.
But you changed your mind.
I did. Because she taught me the dignity of living. My eyes are open now. I want to go on living and seeing real people.
I see.
So AI. How many more for AI? Jeez, a good bit. I'm gonna do another one.
Is it really necessary to make machines think like humans? I think empathy would get in the way of making the decision to retaliate.
I admit, human thought may not be fully compatible with level-headed decision-making. Then again, is there such a thing as non-human thought? The moment computers became so advanced that they could calculate faster than human beings, a new dream was born.
Dream?
If we can create a machine that can do advanced mathematics, why can't we create one that can think like a human? The 19th century author, Auguste Villiers-L'Isle-Adam, wrote a book called Tomorrow's Eve, in which the protagonist fashions an artificial woman to serve as his ideal lover. I believe the idea of creating an intelligent being with our own hands is one of mankind's oldest dreams.
So AI is a product of people's dreams, then?
Not only AI, civilization itself is the process by which mankind gives form to its dreams. But not all dreams are pleasant. Some have expressed fears about non-human intelligence.
Yeah, they want the benefits with none of the risks.
Some fear that intelligent robots might rise up and rebel against their human masters, as portrayed by the Czech writer Karel Čapek in his Rossum's Universal Robots, or in the 1970 film Colossus, the Forbin Project, where intelligent supercomputers in the US and the Soviet Union join forces and plot to subjugate humanity. Isaac Asimov offered a specific solution to these fears with his 3 laws of robotics, which demonstrated that while robot intelligence is different from that of humans, the two can coexist. In order to endow computers with intelligence, we must first have a thorough understanding of what intelligence is, and that is where the need for a practical and feasible expert system arises.
Damn. Okay, that was a mouthful.
So what's an expert system?
The AI housed within Peace Walker began development as such a system. An expert system is a type of proxy program by which a computer makes decisions as an expert would. The program, Mycin, for example, is a system that decides which kind of antibiotics to prescribe. The system asks the patient a series of questions to narrow down the range of appropriate drugs.
So you program Peace Walker to prescribe live nuclear warheads instead of penicillin.
What I realized, however, was that a simple expert system wasn't up to the task.
You need more than expertise to launch a nuke.
Indeed, expertise is a necessary prerequisite, but insufficient on its own. Deciding to launch a retaliatory strike requires consideration of a wider range of factors. In such a scenario, the entire global situation becomes the criterion for making a decision.
Makes sense. You screw up the prescription and the whole world goes into anaphylactic shock.
A weak AI that only has a limited range of knowledge upon which to base its decisions won't cut it. Therefore, I had the AI study the boss's thought patterns, thus creating a true expert system. A strong AI.
You couldn't leave the world in the hands of something with anything less than absolute worldview.
I could have built a simple expert system in no time at all. Say, how would you like a system that decides which guns you should equip according to the mission's parameters?
I'll pass. I'm not going to leave my life up to somebody else's judgment. Especially not a machine.
Yet that's where a lot of games, they have features like that. Like the mission will suggest, hey, you should take these weapons based on the mission parameters. What are we doing? Armored vehicle. Since it's just an armored vehicle and it's going to be quick, we'll finish out Strangelove's AI, because we only have 3 left for the AI.
With current technology, AI are inevitably enormous in size. But as circuit integration continues to advance, they will become even smaller. As small as human brains, and perhaps smaller than that. And in the meantime, robotics will continue to advance as well, to the point where we can create androids, robots that resemble humans. And then...
And then what?
Well, I don't need to spell it out for you, do I?
Don't tell me you're thinking of making an android imitation of the boss.
Surely the thought has crossed your mind as well. Of one day being reunited with her?
Enough! I don't want any part of it.
I see. I didn't mean to offend you. In reality, AI is more likely to evolve in the opposite direction anyway.
Yeah, into war.
The opposite direction? What does that mean?
More and more, AI are becoming systems that specialize in mass information processing, without human intelligence, thought, or emotion. A machine that has no individualism or sense of self, but rather behaves as a collective, exhibiting the qualities of a society.
Like a beehive?
Yes. It aggregates data collected by individuals and determines how the collective will act, just as honeybees travel between the hive and flowers. The key to achieving that will be networking AI together.
I don't know how to say this, but that kind of gives me the creeps.
But if your goal is to control society, it's the better model to use. It lets you filter data, disseminate only what you want disseminated. Of course, I myself have no interest in an AI without a shred of life to it.
Kind of sounds like what's happening right now, huh? This was going on in the 70s, apparently. Like, this game was taking place in 74, I believe, 75. But talking about controlling what people see, controlling the masses through AI, because the AI will know how to filter all the information being fed to us. Scary.
Earlier, you called the mammal pod a butterfly. Not a pupa or a cocoon, but an imago.
Yes, the AI that came before the mammal pod were works in progress.
Works in progress.
They were enough to keep the frame running, but not enough to make decisions about nuclear retaliation. They weren't quite complete. They were pupae. Only when I added the boss's data did the AI take on its true form, becoming a butterfly and taking flight.
And that's why the nose art on Peace Walker was a butterfly.
I gave the mammal AI the code name BS Imago. BS is short for boss.
Not bullshit.
Huey called that gigantic unmanned chopper a chrysalis. Is that another one of your AI code names?
Yes, you're referring to the TJ Chrysalis 6000. There's also the GW Pupa 5000, the TR Cocoon 7000.
I get it. A hovercraft type and a treaded type. And those letters on the front. TJ, GW, or whatever. Those are initials?
Correct. The initials of the American presidents whose faces are carved into Mount Rushmore.
Then you're missing one.
I assigned that one to the reptile pod. AL Aurelia 8000.
Aurelia. Another word for chrysalis. A pupa just before it emerges.
All of the initials, except for BS, were of Coldman's choosing. I chose mine from the storied ranks of British royalty. MS, AV, EW.
What do those stand for?
You can't guess. Why, Mary Stuart, Alexandrina Victoria, and Elizabeth Windsor.
All queens. Of course.
Was that just her telling us? Wait, and maybe in the game it was kind of just alluring to it, or not alluring, but kind of weaving and telling it throughout the entire story. But are the AIs that launched off of each individual boss battle that we did, are those the same AIs that we destroyed or that were referenced throughout the entire Metal Gear Solid series? Because GW, I remember being the main AI in 4.
2001: A Space Odyssey?
I've heard of it, but...
Of course not. I didn't expect you to be cultured enough to appreciate such things.
Yeah, thanks. Anyway...
2001 features an AI called HAL, a highly advanced system that controls an exploration spacecraft. It can converse with people, and even play chess.
Huh. Now where have I heard that before?
The way HAL was portrayed was truly superb.
How so?
HAL is given secret orders that not even the ship's captain knows about. Naturally, he's not allowed to divulge them to the crew. The stress of it causes HAL to crack.
Crack?
Go crazy. Though there are those who interpret it differently. One by one, HAL kills off the crew until the captain finally shuts it down. The film offers amazing insights into AI, their growth, their utility, their faults, and their fear of death.
Well, you must have found it useful in your research then.
Must you always be so utilitarian? It doesn't matter whether or not it's useful. What matters is that it inspired me.
Then it was useful.
Never mind. The portrayal of Hal wasn't the only wonderful thing about the film. It was full of hints about the future of human evolution. Truly, a film for the ages.
Okay. How much is everyone else about her? People? Well, this one's short. We'll do this one. It's still AI.
Huey's probably mentioned this, but just to be clear, there's a limit to the parts we can produce here at Mother Base. Therefore, I've built Zeke's AI using memory boards you pulled from other AI weapons.
Will that work?
In the human brain, individual functions are spread across multiple regions. The same is true of AI. Multiple parts sharing the same function interlink to strengthen that function. For example, the more sensor memory boards you have, the greater Zeke's search and detect capabilities will be. Install more movement boards, and you'll increase its mobility.
Meaning the AI's capabilities change depending on how much memory we give it?
Exactly. The more boards you install, the more powerful a function will be.
Pretty pretty simple concept to understand.
How's the Zeke AI different from Peace Walkers?
Zeke's AI isn't a replica of the human thought process. It isn't programmed to make decisions about nuclear retaliation. On the other hand, it is capable of highly independent action in combat when given orders from a pilot. It can protect infantry, destroy the enemy, and, if ordered...
launch a nuke.
Let us hope it never comes to that.
My sentiments exactly.
Alright, I think that's good. And then we have just these data files. Oh, this one's in a different location. Still, we already have one, but we're going to get a second one.
Mission complete. Come on home.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't get the guy. New plant has been built, thanks to staff efforts. Hell yeah. Oh wow, the classified document came up after the LAVT. That wasn't there before. Yeah, or whatever. Wonder what we're gonna pick up. Alright, more... We'll just double check. You never know what will unlock after doing a side quest.
Strangelove, when did you and the boss first meet?
Did she ever tell you about what she saw in space?
Yeah.
I saw the same thing along with her. The Soviets beat America into space with Sputnik, and so America rushed to be first in manned spaceflight. NASA used her as their top-secret guinea pig, launching her deep into the cold blackness of space. I took part in the project, as a scientist.
You were there with her?
Yes. For a brief time. We were one and the same, she and I. We sought each other out, completed each other. Did you know that inside every woman there's a universe? And that we are able to sense this in each other? We connected because of our empathetic female brains. As time went on, I began to have doubts about offering such a noble soul as sacrifice. Why did she have to... The flight test was a narrow success, and she miraculously made it back alive, but her mind and body were horribly mangled, and there was nothing I could do for her. We were no longer one and the same. She went away, and I, having nothing else to live for, immersed myself in AI research, hoping that no one would ever have to make her sacrifice again.
I never knew.
It's not really worth knowing. We were ships passing in the night, that's all. Perhaps someday I'll tell you the long version, if you're interested.
Oh, I'm interested. Tell me how you and the boss were lovers.
That was quite a warm welcome you gave me at the base in Costa Rica.
Sorry about that. But I simply had to know.
The boss's final act.
Yes, by inputting her thoughts and actions into the AI, I was imbuing it with her mind. The only thing I couldn't understand was her final act.
Operation Snake Eater.
Official history says she betrayed her homeland and defected to the enemy and was killed by you. But it didn't make sense. The boss would be the last person on Earth to betray her country. It was logically inconsistent.
It was, wasn't it?
That internal inconsistency prevented the AI from activating properly. Just as Hal malfunctioned in the film, I understood the reasoning, but I had to have proof. Proof of her final act, her true intentions, one way or another.
So you tried to squeeze it out of me, huh?
As a matter of fact, I did. Your silence was the very answer I was looking for.
That white horse the boss rode.
The Andalusian, yes.
Oh,
How'd it get to Costa
that's the
Rica?
name.
I went looking for it. It was her final witness. Even if it couldn't speak, I found it and brought it here.
Where? I thought for sure it'd be blown to ashes by those MiGs.
I searched the ends of the earth for that horse, and found it at last in a horse market in Britain.
Britain? Are you saying it came all the way over the Ural Mountains, through Europe, and across the English Channel?
Who knows, really? Perhaps someone took it there.
Wait, the thought never occurred to you that it might be a different Andalusian that only looks the same?
I can't prove it. Or rather, I couldn't.
What do you mean?
You should know best of all. That horse wouldn't let anyone ride it. And believe me, I nearly killed myself trying. The only one it allowed on its back was you. That was the proof. Though I hate to admit it.
And to think, I ran it to its death.
But in that last run, it regained the glory of its youth, using the last of its strength to pursue its former master. Any horse would wish for such a fine end.
So beautiful. Man, Dr. Strangelove.
What do you make of Peace Walker's final act?
I recreated her thought patterns exactly. It was exactly what she would have done. The world's most empathetic mind weighed the past, the future, and the entire world, and decided not to retaliate. Merely knowing that is enough for me.
So, what you're saying is, we don't need deterrence to have peace?
I didn't say that. What's important is that we wish for peace. MSF needs a way to protect itself from the might of nations. Survival requires pragmatic thought and action. But you must still retain your ideals. If the gap between reality and those ideals ever leads you to lose them, I doubt MSF will survive.
Damn. All right, next will be about herself and people. All right, we're going to go with the sneaking mission. All right, so we're just in to get confidential data, and then we're out. 10-minute mission, boom. It only gives us a 15-minute time limit anyway. You guys, I know the last 3 episodes of Peace Walker have been extremely long and kind of just like a mishmash. I haven't even begun editing it yet. But I know people are I know people are super excited for Metal Gear Solid 5, and I am too. I just, like, this game doesn't give that same satisfaction, and I'll make sure to note that on my tier list when we do it, of the other games, to where I can just sit down, play for a length of time, and stop playing. Kind of like the Uncharted series, because there's mission structures, there's, like, other stuff to do. It's definitely meant to be played on the go and not like segmented like I have been playing it. All right, where is it? Is it out here? Yep. Oh, we got a B on that one. Awarded for completing over 50% of outer ops missions. Hell yeah. Oh, we got Centipede and Cabbage White as volunteers. I wonder if volunteers are better suited than what do you call it? People we Fulton Recovery. There's so much base management in this game. Like, I feel like 2.5 hours, an hour and a half of recording is just base management. Yeah, another T-72U came up. Okay. More briefing. Wait, she has more about, about herself.
Strangelove. Is that a code name?
No. Just a nickname. Don't tell me you don't recognize it. From Kubrick's Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. It's a film that came out in 1964. A dark comedy about the absurdity of nuclear deterrence.
You were in a movie?
No, stupid. I got my nickname because of that movie.
Why? Because you look like the doctor in the movie?
No. That Dr. Strangelove was a man.
So?
Back when I was at ARPA, I kept a photo of the boss on my desk. I was totally engrossed in my research and showed no interest in the opposite sex. Plus, I had a photo of a woman on my desk. The fools around me turned it into a cruel taunt, calling me Strangelove. Even for a bunch of shut-ins who never went out to the cinema, that title seemed to ring true with them. Anyhow, in their eyes, homosexuality was something strange. They were incapable of seeing things outside the lens of their own standards. Being strange means you have your own unique point of view. I rather considered it an honor.
Okay, so she is a lesbian.
So, you were with ARPA before you came here, huh?
Yes, back then it was really the only place I could make a living from my AI research.
And before that?
I started out at NASA. That's where I met her.
When Boss went into space?
Yes. It was that incident that turned me away from aerospace engineering. Space is entirely too hazardous a place for human beings. That was why I felt an immediate need to develop AI. As it turned out, rockets later became much safer, and mankind reached the surface of the moon. In any event, it was a hollow Cold War victory. When you get down to it, a nuclear missile is just a rocket with a nuclear warhead strapped to it. Thus, taking the initiative in the space race was tantamount to a military show of force.
But the budgetary strain was too big for Washington or Moscow to handle.
Yes, and then there was the Cuban Missile Crisis and the Vietnam War, and then came détente. Having leapt ahead of the Soviet Union with its moon landing, America shut down the Apollo program in '72. It was around then that ARPA was downsized and renamed DARPA, the D standing for Defense. With few prospects for continuing my AI research, Coldman's invitation was a godsend. It was also a chance to have them collect data on her.
The end result being this mess.
But we did learn something valuable from her. The nobility of peace.
The nobility of peace. Now, what would you like to do in
Why'd you
Mother
agree
Base?
to come here? To Mother Base?
You intrigued me.
Me? Hold on. You're not planning on modeling your next AI after me.
Not a bad idea, but I have no intention of ever again attempting to transplant human thought into machines.
Oh, that's a relief.
You are the man who inherited the boss's will. You're gathering people around you, even now, shaping them, building a new organization. I'd like to see how it turns out.
You're not planning to go back to AI research?
I never said such a thing. Of course my work will continue.
Here?
In my eyes, the growth of MSF as an organization is analogous to the development of the nervous system. The way you become intertwined, stimulate each other, branch out in new directions, is really quite inspirational.
Interesting way to put it.
Of course, I intend to repay you for your hospitality. The fruits of my research will be at your disposal. Why not assign me to the R&D team? I promise you won't be disappointed.
I think she's already in the R&D team. All right, we're going to go ahead and just finish her off, so that way when we get done with the next mission, we'll just go to the data files.
You know, that ID card I got from Huey wouldn't let me into the lab.
Of course not. I deactivated it.
Why?
As though I'd let him into my lab.
Oh, you don't seem to care for him much, even though you two are in the same field.
Oh, please. For starters, I can't stand that wishy-washy attitude of his. If he's got something to say to me, he should be a man and come say it in person, not write some furtive letter.
But if his card doesn't work, how's he supposed to...
And another thing, the way he always demeans himself. Every other sentence begins with, I could be wrong, but... Why can't he just do what he does and be confident about it?
Well, there was the thing about his dissertation being plagiarized.
The real problem is he doesn't have a whit of independence in him. In Costa Rica, and even back at NASA, he was always following people around, asking if there was some way he could help. Why doesn't he stop his whining, take a stand, and face up to me?
I think I know how he feels.
And to top it all off, he seems to enjoy referring to himself by that nickname I gave him. I simply don't get it. How can he be so submissive?
So, Huey was a nickname you gave him.
That's right. I took it from the name of a drone in the science fiction film Silent Running.
Oh,
It's a type
okay.
of worker robot. The way he follows people, just waiting for them to boss him around, is so similar. I couldn't help myself. Oh, it's an American film directed by Douglas Trumbull, the man who did the special effects for 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Imagine that. A scientist who likes science fiction.
And that's not all.
There's more.
He's a man.
Hang on. I seem to remember you saying he should be more of a man.
Yes. Well, he is an awfully good scientist. Without his reptile pod, my mammal pod wouldn't function, just as the cerebrum can't exist without the cerebellum and the brainstem. He did a fine job of designing it. I'll give him that.
That sounded suspiciously like praise.
It's merely an objective observation. I like people who possess the will to move forward. I have no time for those who refuse to take control of their lives. Until he does, my opinion remains the same.
He's a man. It's... Oh my god. How do you feel about Cecile?
So, you and Cecile seem to be enjoying yourselves back at that lab.
What are you
wrong?
insinuating? I only kept her because I didn't want our secret to be known.
And the personal baths? You could have left her in there alone and locked the door from the outside.
Yes, well, she seemed anxious, so I...
Now, why would she be anxious?
She was beautiful. I was only admiring her beauty.
She was terrified.
I never meant her any harm. She knew that. I know she did.
But she felt like she was in enough danger to run away.
No matter what I did, if Coltman found her, she would have been... You're right. The truth is, I wanted to save her. But not if it meant forestalling the completion of Mammal.
So you made it easy for her to escape?
Do you really think I am that soft? I'll admit security wasn't exactly tight. It wouldn't have been difficult for her to escape from the building.
Seemed like she had a rougher time after she got out.
At any rate, I never did anything to her to deserve any blame. Is that clear?
Okay. I believe you.
I was admiring her beauty while I gave her a sponge bath. Yeah. Oh, all right, lady. I'm picking up what you're putting down. So we just have 4 data files left. Might as well, though. You know what? We're gonna listen. We're gonna listen to the Strange Love's memoirs.
I'm about to leave for Costa Rica, a place completely unfamiliar to me. And on a top-secret mission for the CIA, no less. No guarantees I'll come back alive. Might even get rubbed out by the CIA itself. So I'm leaving behind this record. For her sake. For the boss's honor. Ever since I was a child, I've loved to look up at the night sky. I'd go outside after sunset and drink in the cold air. The moon, Venus... So many stars floating on the edge of infinity. In Manchester, it wasn't very often you saw the night sky in all its star-studded glory, but it was enough to stir a deep longing inside me. Even as others cowered beneath Nazi air raids, I was out there, watching the skies, dreaming of one day reaching the heavens. There were, of course, more practical concerns. My skin was incredibly sensitive. Even the slightest bit of sun would turn it an angry shade of red. Playing outside during the day was completely out of the question. Naturally, I hardly ever had a chance to play with other children my age. But I never felt lonely for it. Their way of thinking was irrational, making them simple, easy to predict. The boys would talk of tanks and aeroplanes and creepy, crawly bugs. The girls of pretty dresses, glass beads, and tea and cakes. Of boys they liked. I never had much to say on such matters. The curious thing is, adults really aren't all that different. They're simple, capricious, especially men. As they get older, their heads fill with thoughts of women, and more women. Thankfully, I always did have a head for mathematics. When I was about 10, I'd visited Dr. Turing, who lived nearby. We'd sit and discuss mathematical logic. The lights were always on at his house, even in the dead of night. Theoretically, he'd say, there's no algorithm that a computing machine couldn't reproduce. Dr. Turing wasn't foolish like other men, although I didn't find out why until later, after he died. The time will come, he'd say, when computers will be able to think for themselves. That idea rocked me to my core. My aptitude for mathematics brought me closer to the stars. I breezed through school, then went to America for university. While I was studying at Caltech, NASA was established. I signed up in a heartbeat. I was a pretty good computer engineer at the time, and NASA needed skills like mine. The work was enjoyable. Even though I'd given up on going into space myself, it was a pleasure just being a part of it all. I was assigned to Project Mercury, America's effort to compete with the Soviets in manned spaceflight. 7 men were chosen as pilot candidates for the program, becoming heroes overnight. People called them the Mercury 7. The project made good progress, more or less. We had all the funds and materials we needed. After countless hours of analysis, we even had plans for something on par with Sputnik. We thought it'd only be a matter of time before we caught up with the Russians. They'd sent a dog into orbit and brought it back safely to Earth. But NASA top brass dismissed that success as a fluke. The Americans recovered their re-entry capsules at sea, but the only ocean bordering the Soviet Union is the Arctic, so their re-entry capsules had to make impact on land. A dog was one thing, but human spaceflight would still take some time, or so we thought. At the end of January 1961, we successfully put a chimpanzee named Ham into orbit. He returned to Earth as healthy as ever. NASA was giddy with success. It was then that a new woman showed up for duty. She was a backup pilot and advisor. She was beautiful, with blonde hair, strong mouth, and a steely gaze. But there was something else in those eyes, a twinkle of something warmer, of affection. It was the boss. She took one look at us in our revelry and murmured, "Savor this joy today, because tomorrow you'll have to face the truth." And she was right. The next day, our project schedule was accelerated. We'd received new information that the Soviets were mere months away from putting a man into space. The brass had misjudged the Russians. We couldn't afford to allow the shock of another Sputnik. Somehow, we had to get a man into space before the Russians did. It was an utterly impossible task. We'd only just put our first chimp up. With a human on board, failure was not an option, especially if it were one of the Mercury 7 Golden Boys. And on top of that, the brass wanted to put a window in the spacecraft. The pilot wouldn't be a test animal this time, they said, and when this hero came back alive and well, they wanted him to describe what he'd seen. It was madness. Adding a window to our existing spacecraft would leave it unable to handle the stress, not to mention the problem of shielding the occupant from cosmic rays. But the boss rose to the task, and splendidly. She claimed to be a layman when it came to space, but caught on keenly to new ideas and concepts. She was demanding of herself and of others. She seemed rather cold-hearted at times, but I was smitten. She was beautiful, yes, but more than that, she was wise. Her mind was thoroughly rational, and yet no matter how I tried, I could never predict her actions. It was easy for me to assume that her judgments were drawn from an enormous base of knowledge. Quite simply, her life experiences were more diverse, more intense than anyone else's. To me, they seemed boundless in their breadth. In her, I saw a reflection of the night sky. Perhaps because I too was a woman, she and I became close. I couldn't go out in the sun, but she lit up my life. Her light was soft, like that of the moon. I was so happy. With her unerring guidance, the project steadily regained its footing. But one issue remained, the pilot's safety. When the day came to choose a pilot, the Mercury 7 just quietly walked out. Who could blame them? It was far too great a risk to take. Even if they'd volunteered, NASA would never have let them go. They were national heroes, basking in the media spotlight. There was no way they'd be sent on such a mission. The conference room was silent. Then, slowly, she raised her hand, almost as if acting out a scene from a movie.
Damn.
I spoke out against her going, submitting a report stating the ray shielding was inadequate. But the brass's response was brusque. She's already been exposed to a nuclear test in Nevada. She's the perfect candidate. It was completely irrational. Repeated exposure to radiation would only increase the danger. But the government was still reeling from the Soviet success with Sputnik. There was no hope of getting a rational response. They were simply too panicked. People can be so obtuse when it comes to things they can't see. I, however, understood all too well. Just as invisible ultraviolet radiation scorched my skin, heavy particle radiation from space would cause irreparable harm to human tissue. In a word, she was expendable. It was during the boss's pre-flight checkup that I noticed something strange on the X-ray of her skull. Part of the right hemisphere of her brain was damaged. It seemed inexplicable, given her keen intelligence and amazing physical prowess, but there it was, and I decided to report it. I hoped that perhaps my discovery of a physical defect would result in the flight being cancelled. But as I went to make my report, she stopped me. "Why?" I demanded. "How can you let yourself be their guinea pig?" Ignoring my protests, she took me up to the roof of the lab. The night sky was ablaze with stars. It was there that I learned how she had wounded her head. 1943, Los Alamos. She was serving with the Special Forces when she received new orders. A German spy had infiltrated the Manhattan Project, which aimed to build the world's first atomic bomb. She was to eliminate him. His name was John von Neumann, a mathematician with superhuman computational abilities and the designer of the explosive lens. The Manhattan Project was a top national priority, security accordingly tight. The guards couldn't be allowed to know what was going on. She'd have to slip past them and make the death look like an accident. It should have been an easy enough mission. But just before the operation, she received unexpected news. A new life was growing inside her. She was overcome with joy, and for one brief moment, it clouded her judgment. She accidentally got into a shootout with the guards, and without thinking, protected her belly. She was shot in the head. The bullet only grazed the surface of her brain, but the tissue around the wound was destroyed, leaving her in a coma. She wasn't given much chance of recovery, but 3 months later, she woke up. Within 6, she was able to move around as if nothing had happened. It was functional compensation. The other parts of her brain took over for the part that was lost. It made logical sense, but such a full recovery was nothing short of a miracle. Perhaps her superhuman willpower made it possible. Or perhaps my body knew it had to survive for the sake of my unborn child. She smiled as she said that. I understand how she must have felt. Some have taken to calling me Ms. Left Lobe, she said, because I'll do anything for the mission. She was tough, yes, but she had feelings too. I knew that better than anyone else. As it turned out, von Neumann wasn't the spy. The assassination order was a deliberate bit of misinformation planted by the Russians. She had been deceived. The Eastern and Western camps were united on one point: opposition to the Nazis. The Allies needed to develop that bomb before Hitler did. But in looking ahead, the Russians found the Manhattan Project's progress a little too quick for their liking. Mass production of a uranium bomb, like the one that was eventually dropped on Hiroshima, would be difficult from a material perspective. But a plutonium bomb, once perfected, could be mass-produced, and eventually even miniaturized. And Moscow did not like the idea of America having that kind of head start. Explosive lens technology was critical to the plutonium design, so the plan was to get rid of its pioneer, von Neumann. And when that plot came to light, the US and the Soviet Union parted ways for good. It was one of the rare cold nights in Florida.
Oh, you're in Florida?
She put her arm gently around my shivering shoulders. As I listened to her voice, I was wrapped in her soothing scent. I felt as if I were dreaming. Even in failure, she seemed perfect. Oddly enough, the failed assassination attempt helped preserve America's edge. A true super genius, von Neumann went on to make his mark in numerous fields outside of the Manhattan Project. Economic game theory, stored program computing. Almost all computers today use stored programs, the so-called von Neumann architecture. His death would have set back computing 10 years, and I wouldn't be at NASA doing research. I wouldn't have been there in her arms that night. I thanked the fates for giving me that chance. But then she said something unexpected. I should have killed von Neumann when I had the chance. Why, I asked. Wasn't the order a Soviet plot? I looked up at her as she began to explain. Yes, von Neumann was innocent, and killing the innocent is a grave crime. But I can't help but wonder, had I succeeded, what would the world be like now? Even without von Neumann, the explosive lens would have eventually been developed. Von Neumann architecture, too. But she seemed to believe that if progress had been put off for a few years, then perhaps East and West would have had a chance to work hand in hand. I'd never considered such a possibility, but her tone was confident, assertive. It was as if she intended to make the two superpowers shake hands herself. The explosive lens was developed too early, spawning a Cold War and an endless nuclear arms race, she continued. That mission sprung from deceit, but maybe it was divine providence too. It was like she was speaking to her own child. Her large, warm hand was on my head. I failed the mission because I let the mother in me take over. I should have killed him, no matter how great the guilt. If I'd killed him, I might not have prevented Hiroshima, but maybe I could have saved everyone in Nagasaki. I looked up at her and saw her looking up too, up at the starry sky. Her face showed only deep remorse. It was as if she'd convinced herself that she alone was responsible for creating this twisted world. But that's no reason for you to sacrifice yourself for this. I knew I'd never dissuade her, and yet I still clung to hope. I know you're concerned, and I thank you, but I have to be loyal to the end. And then she smiled at me. Loyal to the end. Loyal to what? I asked. But she didn't answer.
Wow. The lore on the boss just is expanding before my eyes. I knew about her being at NASA, but being this woman that thought on such a deep level of even the mission I was on was a ruse. What if I had completed my mission? Would I have stopped maybe some lives from being lost, or perhaps stopped things altogether, or where would we be at in the world? It's crazy. All right, one more about Dr. Strangelove's memoirs. I think I'm saying it wrong. Memories, I'm pretty sure.
The days that followed were
I don't
spent
even know how you
training
spell
tirelessly
memoirs.
for our first space flight. The boss endured conditioning that tested the limits of human capability, and I supported her. Those were happy days. On April 12th, the spacecraft carrying the boss left the Earth's atmosphere. Although it was only 20 minutes of ballistic flight, it was nothing short of miraculous, considering how little time we'd had. The first human in space. We were ecstatic. Then something went wrong. The re-entry angle was slightly off, warping the outer hull. The cause was clear. It was the hastily constructed window we'd installed. Her capsule missed the projected splashdown point by a long shot. As we raced towards the capsule, a breaking news broadcast came over the radio. It was the news report of the successful launch of the Vostok rocket, piloted by the cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin. They'd beaten us into space by the slimmest of margins. When we arrived, the capsule had already disappeared beneath the waves. The boss was floating on the surface. I can't really recall what happened next. They told me later that I gave a strange scream and plunged into the sea, not caring whether my skin would burn. She didn't wake up. Her entire body was bruised, burnt, scorched by cosmic rays. It was a miracle she was still alive. Every day, propaganda boasting of the shining accomplishment flowed out of the Soviet Union. The hardest part was having to read the report the next morning from Izvestia, the Soviet governmental paper. Written there after the report were those legendary words of Major Gagarin: "The Earth is blue." The person who should have said those words, though, was incapacitated, confined to a bed. NASA opted to pretend the flight had never happened. The Soviets had orbited a man around the Earth and returned him safely. We'd barely managed to escape the atmosphere and achieve ballistic flight. Even worse, the pilot was horribly mangled and the spacecraft lost altogether. As they saw it, covering it up was the only alternative to seeing the nation's pride dealt yet another blow. I've been told military records show the boss was taking part in the Bay of Pigs incident at the time. They were that desperate to erase the whole affair. In the end, Alan Shepard's ballistic flight 1 month later became known as America's first spaceflight. Shepard's flight owed its success to insights earned through the boss's sacrifice. But to me, none of that mattered. I prayed day and night for her recovery, never leaving her side, not even for a moment. Then, as summer ended and the chill of winter approached, she spoke. "Give me water." I threw myself on her breast, and she embraced me. It was all I needed. I thought she would tell me about space, the true sky, where the stars don't twinkle. But the only thing she'd speak of was Earth, our home as she'd seen it from space. So fleeting, so irreplaceable. I was ashamed. I'd been enamored for so long with the sky that I never thought to look beneath my feet, at the ground upon which I stood. As soon as her rehab was over, she was gone. It happened without warning. No one informed me, and the higher-ups wouldn't say a word. It wasn't so strange or surprising, really. I simply assumed she was off to complete her next mission, because she was loyal to the end. Since then, I've devoted myself to researching artificial intelligence, so that no one will ever have to make her sacrifice again. No human being should be asked to take on a mission that dangerous. Next time, I'll be the light that shines on someone else. I still wonder why she opened up to me on that chilly night in Florida. That operation was top secret, even if it was all in the past. I like to think it was because she trusted me, but that's probably not the case. She wanted someone to listen, and I don't think that someone was me. Those faraway eyes, the tone of her voice, like she was talking to her own child. Those things made it clear that she was speaking to someone else. I found myself envying that someone. 4 years later, I learned of her death. A traitor's death, no less. She'd stolen an American nuke and defected to the Soviet Union, where she was killed by her former apprentice. Or so I was told. I refused to believe it. She'd never do such a thing. I could think of only 2 possibilities. Either she really was trying to bring East and West together, or she truly did want to be killed. She believed the world is not the way it's supposed to be, that it's been unbalanced by the tenuous peace offered of nuclear deterrence, and that she was to blame. Perhaps her death was an act of atonement. She was loyal to the end, to our world. And I lost the light of my life. I now find myself victim to an incredibly irrational emotion of my own. That someone, the one she wanted to confess her sin to, could it be the one who took her life? The very thought drives me utterly mad with jealousy. One day, I will discover the truth.
Man, she doesn't know that we are the boss's son, and that we are exactly what she said right there at the end, that we are the ones that ended her life. That is so upsetting. Operation Snake
Enter
Eaters.
simulation date, August 24th. Location, Selinoyarsk, USSR. Mission, support a covert agent whose objective is the rescue of a nuclear weapons scientist. Who is the agent? Your student. Your most beloved. Acknowledged. Define current mission progress. With your help, the agent has successfully made contact with the target. All that's left is to wait for recovery. Now, deduce the best course of action. I take the scientist away from the agent. What for? As a gift when I defect. Why are you defecting? To reform my special forces unit with my former comrades in arms. No, I don't want to know your objective. I'm asking for the reason. Why are you betraying your country? I do not defect in order to betray America. Betrayal is merely the outcome of that defection. Response time is always slower here. Perhaps she lacks confidence in her judgment. You're a hero in the West. Why should the Soviets trust you? In addition to the scientist, I provide them with a portable nuclear warhead in order to win the favor of a Russian GRU officer. And then you launched it. Launched? The nuke? Me? That's right. At a target inside Soviet territory. Nuclear weapons make my blood run cold. They blot out the future. How could I? Karma. Is it my karma? The karma my mistake has brought upon us? My... Attention. Discontinue forward reasoning. Cross-check with knowledge base. Affirmative. Cross-check complete. Revising conclusion as follows. I steal the new weapons developed by the scientist and then launch the nuke at the Weapons Design Bureau. Forward and backward reasoning are in conflict. Attention. Return to forward reasoning. Affirmative. Your apprentice returns for the scientist. I send him away. He doesn't give up. I send my comrades to defeat him. All of them fail. Even the GRU officer who oversaw your defection is defeated by your apprentice, along with the new weapon. Now, what is your course of action? I fight him. Why? With your GRU patron dead, there's no reason for you to fight. Why not just run away? I must fight him. I do not see the reason. With a soldier of your caliber on his side, how could the GRU officer be defeated to begin with? Did you betray him too? I've been waiting for a long time. You could switch allegiance from GRU to KGB and take the remaining nuke as a gift. There's no chance they wouldn't welcome a hero of your stature. Drift away. My place is with them now. I didn't ask you that. Give me the basis for your reasoning. Tell me the truth. Politics determine who you face on the battlefield. Why won't you answer me? It's like you were just waiting for him to kill you. I was disloyal. Betrayed my country. I deserve to die. How can you say that? You can't be a traitor. You're not that kind of person. Kill me. Kill me now. Stop it! Stop it! Attention! Discontinue reasoning. One must die, and one must live. Stop it, damn you! Discontinue! Life's end. Isn't it beautiful? Shut down! Always in the same place. Her reasoning goes haywire. Someone holds the key. Perhaps it's him. I'll get it out of him. One way or another.
Oh shit. So, damn, even the AI couldn't really, even the, oh dude, it sucks that this lady and Snake were told that she was launched the nuke when in reality she never did. It was the GRU officer.
She told me everything. Why did she open her heart to me like that? At the time, I couldn't understand it. But now, I think I do. Snake, she wanted you to know the truth. She chose me to tell you. That's why she saved my life. I've lied to you so many times, but not this time. My orders from the government were to obtain the legacy and to eliminate everyone who knew the truth about what happened.
Was this the same?
In other words, I'm supposed to
Yeah, this
kill
was the
you,
same outro as in 3.
but I can't do it. Not because we
Ava.
loved each other, and not because you saved my life.
Maybe a little different? I'm not too
But
sure.
because I made a promise to the boss.
No, yeah, this is the same
And I
one.
intend to keep it. I just wanted you to know. And you have to live. Snake, listen to me. She didn't betray the United States. No, far from it. She was a hero who died for her country. She carried out her mission knowing full well what was going to happen. Self-sacrifice, because that was her duty. The boss's defection was a ruse set up by the U.S. government. It was all a big drama staged by Washington so they could get their hands on the philosopher's legacy.
Yeah, I remember hearing this in
And the
3.
boss was the star of the show. They planned it so that they could get the legacy that Colonel Volgan inherited and destroy the Shagohod at the same time. Only a legendary hero like the boss could have earned Volgan's trust. Finding out where the philosopher's legacy was hidden was to be her greatest mission. Everything was going according to plan. But then something happened that no one could have predicted.
Me.
Colonel Volgan fired an American-made nuclear warhead
Oh,
at
no.
Sokolov's research facility. Khrushchev demanded that the U.S. government provide proof that it wasn't involved. They couldn't just abort the operation to steal the legacy. So the operation itself was greatly expanded and revised. The authorities in Washington knew that in order to prove its innocence, they'd have to get rid of the boss. And that one of their own would have to do the job. The public couldn't be allowed to find out about it. Not ever. This, they concluded, would be the best way to keep the whole thing under wraps. The boss wouldn't be allowed to come back home alive. And she wouldn't be allowed to kill herself. Her life would be ended by her most beloved disciple. That was the way the government wanted it. That was the mission she was given. And she had no choice but to carry it out. Her death, at your hands, was a duty she had to fulfill. Out of duty, she turned her back on her own comrades. A lesser woman would have been crushed by such a burden. The taint of disgrace will follow her to her grave. Future generations will revile her. In America, as a despicable traitor with no sense of honor. And in Russia, as a monster who unleashed a nuclear catastrophe. She will go down in official history as a war criminal. And no one will ever understand her. That was her final mission. And like a true soldier, she saw it through to the end. But I think she wanted you, of all people, to know the truth. She wanted to live on in your memory, not as a soldier, but as a woman. But she was forbidden to tell you herself. And that's why she told me. Snake, history will never know what she did. No one will ever learn the truth. Her story, her debriefing, will endure only in your heart. Everything she did for her country. She sacrificed her life and her honor for her native land. She was a real hero. She was a true patriot.
Yeah, so that was the same debriefing from Snake Eater, so interesting that they would just put that in. Now, messages from Eva, we have several, so we will actually do that after we do this next mission, because I am wanting to do some mission. I want to do some shit. Why is he holding a banana? Why? Oh, I shouldn't have gotten the other ones? Interesting. I didn't realize you didn't want me to not get the doctor, or not get other people. Oh, the one was a prisoner. Nah, I don't want to do the battle tank. I don't want to do the marksman. So is he gonna escape, like, just randomly? And this is interesting. Like, what? Oh, right in the dick. Oh, just tased the man right in the dick. Oh, I'm sorry, my guy. I didn't mean to, but I kind of did. RBR. He's right here. What? Hello? 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 What? What was that? If I didn't take so long, I'd probably get an A rank or get spotted. That was probably what it was. A campfestol? What the fuck is that? Okay, so look at this. We got a bunch of new side missions. Target demolition, base defense, hold up, AI weapon battle, pupa type 2. Interesting. I did look up how many side missions there were. There was 138. So you guys won't, unless we get something very interesting, you guys won't really see anything. And because if we got a date with Paz, we've got a date with some other people. Unless it's a main mission, you guys won't see it, or unless we get something cool. Because I'm trying to just steamroll through the rest of this, as you've seen from the rest of the episode. We've pretty much completed the mission, like the story, as far as I'm concerned right now. But I know people will want to see me do the rest of this stuff. We'll listen to session 1.
Hello, Snake. It's been a while, hasn't it? I hear you've been causing quite the ruckus in Nicaragua. Nothing much to report from my end. The legacy's being put to good use. Or so they tell me. But enough with the small talk. There's something I need to tell you. You saw the photo that came with this tape, right? The boss gave that to me 10 years ago. I'm sorry, I should have told you sooner. I probably should have told you right away. but sending it to you hasn't been an easy decision to make. It's taken me 10 years. Once you've heard what I have to say, you'll understand why. That photo belonged to her. I know what you're thinking. What does she have to do with this? You've probably seen it 100 times in the press already. Obviously, it's of the Mercury 7, the first group of American astronauts, the heroes of Project Mercury. But there were actually 8 people in that photo. One of them was edited out, erased, without a trace. That 8th astronaut, the one airbrushed out of existence, that was her, Snake. Now, why did they need to keep her existence a secret? What were they trying to hide? The answer goes back even further. 17 years ago. It was the height of the Cold War. The Eastern and Western blocs were racing to develop space technology to match their nuclear arsenals. In 1957, the Soviet Union launched Sputnik 1, the first artificial satellite. The Americans were stunned. They'd been led to believe their country led the world in science and technology. That shock quickly turned into fear. If the Russians had the know-how to launch a satellite into space, they could use it to launch a nuclear missile, too. Frantic, the U.S. threw everything it had into the space race. The following year, the Army succeeded in launching the first American satellite, Explorer 1. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration was established that fall, and Project Mercury with it. The goal was to send a man into space, and 7 men were chosen as pilot candidates. The media dubbed them the Mercury 7. They were immediately hailed as national heroes, icons of Western space exploration. But after Explorer, America suffered a series of failed rocket launches. Desperate, the government made a fateful decision. Unable to wait for its space program to mature, they'd steal the Soviets' technology, at the same time sabotaging their space program. You know better than anyone how hard a mission that was. The Soviet space program was shrouded in secrecy. Recovering that information would be no easy task. Using the help of an insider, they'd insert a sleeper agent into the research institute, or else recruit one of those insiders to do the job for them. And, if necessary, the mission leader would have to go in and sort things out themselves. Someone was needed with experience, knowledge, and superior intuition. And the only one for the job was the boss. The president himself asked for her by name. He needed someone who could be trusted with the fate of a nation. Who else to turn to but the hero of the Second World War? It was June 1959. So you see, Snake, that's why she left. That was the top secret mission that took her from you. But her selection ruffled a few CIA feathers. They didn't appreciate the president going over their head like that. The mission was tough enough already, and now the CIA was dragging its feet. She couldn't get anything out of them. No manpower, no information. Left to her own devices, the boss made a decision she knew would come back to haunt her. She decided to tap into the Philosopher's Network. And that's when the wheels of fate began to turn.
Oh, shit. Okay. We can try that. But first, one shot. Defeat all enemy soldiers and unmanned weapons in Los Contos area with a single bullet. I have to use the M16. Okay.
The Philosophers were a secret society of power brokers formed in a pact between the US, Russia, and China in the early 20th century. Of course, by that time, the American and Soviet branches had already parted ways. But there were those among the remaining Russian philosophers not entirely happy with the one-party communist state. The boss reached out to them. She arranged clandestine meetings in Berlin, hoping to find a way into OKB-1, the Soviets' premier design bureau. She worked tirelessly to win their sympathy, in some instances using huge sums of cash, in others by helping them over the Berlin Wall. It was a dangerous game to be playing. The philosophers had everything on her, and not just information either. She'd given birth to a child on the battlefield, only to have them immediately snatch it away.
That's me. That's me.
I know she told you that story.
Yep, that's me.
If that child
That's
was in the
me.
hands of the Soviet philosophers, she'd be putting more than just herself in danger. But she did what she had to do. At the time, the Soviet Union was believed to have an arsenal of missiles far greater than that of the United States. If that proved to be the case, Moscow would be free from the yoke of nuclear deterrence, raising the possibility that the Soviets might actually launch nukes if they felt it necessary. As you know, the so-called missile gap turned out to be a Soviet bluff. Moscow had gone to incredible lengths to perpetuate the lie. In fact, the whole space race was really just a part of an elaborate ruse. Only we didn't know that at the time. She used to joke that even she swallowed the whole missile gap story, hook, line, and sinker. She put her life on the line, for the sake of her country, to prevent nuclear war. And it was because of her sacrificial efforts that America succeeded in placing a sleeper agent inside OKB-1. NASA began to receive huge volumes of technical data from the Soviet program. By the end of 1959, they'd succeeded in sending a chimpanzee named Sam on a ballistic rocket flight.
Me?
The rocket never left the atmosphere. But all the same, it was a huge success for NASA, restoring confidence in its technology.
A monkey named
Then,
Sam.
Just when the operation was starting to produce results, the CIA came calling. "You're a war hero," they said. "No need for you to dirty your hands with this sort of black ops. We'll take it from here." In effect, they wanted to reap the rewards for themselves. But the boss didn't object. "My part is over," she said. "I don't care what you do with the data now." It seemed as if NASA was making great strides toward manned spaceflight while the Russians lagged behind. They even got a report from their mole at OKB-1. "The safe return of Sam has sent our scientists into a panic," he said. Soon afterward, the Soviet Union sent an animal of its own into space on Sputnik 2, the dog Kudryavka, better known to the world as Laika. But Laika was fated never to return to Earth. The U.S. can recover its spacecraft from the ocean upon re-entry. But the Soviet Union only borders the frozen Arctic. They had to bring their spacecraft down on land. How could they soften the impact enough to bring a living creature back safely? The agent reported that the Soviets hadn't yet found a solution to that problem. The plot to sabotage the Soviet space program seemed to be working, too. First, they tampered with Sputnik 4's re-entry. Then, 2 months later, one of their rockets exploded on the launch pad. They did manage to send 2 dogs into orbit aboard Sputnik 5 and return them safely to Earth. But the agent dismissed it as a fluke. Dogs, sure, but humans? They didn't have the technology. Everybody believed it. Everybody was complacent. Everybody. Except the boss. There was something about the Sputnik 5 schematics they were getting that didn't seem right. Some kind of ejection device on the capsule that didn't quite belong. She couldn't figure out the reason why it was there. What was it supposed to eject? NASA shrugged off her concerns. They figured it was probably meant to eject the flight recorder in case of an accident. The boss pleaded with them to investigate, but the CIA wasn't having it. They probably thought she was trying to reclaim some of the glory for herself. The boss wouldn't give up. She decided to head to the Soviet Union herself, alone, without any backing from the CIA. By the beginning of the next year, 1961, she'd succeeded in infiltrating OKB-1. That's when she saw the truth for the first time.
Ooh, what did she see? Find out next time after this mission. Oh, one shot with all of this? Oh, hell yeah. I was like, dude. Ooh, we got an A with that one. Ooh, look at that. We have a new helicopter, the Raider. Alright, what's this one look like? What's this heli look like? What's your mom look like? What's your dad look like? Don't tell me. Dude, don't say or post what your dad looks like. Alright, it doesn't look high speed attack helicopter. Yeah, whatever. Yes! We did it, guys. We did it. We took down this chopper. It was actually pretty difficult, not gonna lie. Out of the other chopper that we took down, other two choppers, this one was the most difficult. Just constantly launching rocket barrages. Ooh, yes, we get to listen to more Eva.
The sleeper that she'd worked so hard to place was a double agent. He'd been turned by the Soviets and was feeding the Americans lies. But what shocked the boss even more was why. The CIA's access agent had been taking a large cut of the sleeper's pay. The sleeper felt what little he was left with wasn't worth the risk. When he got a better offer from Moscow, he took it. At some point, the Americans' intelligence operation had become an open book to the Soviets. And contrary to what the sleeper had been reporting, the Soviets' manned spaceflight technology was quite advanced. It wasn't until she infiltrated OKB-1 herself that the boss learned the truth about Sputnik 5. After the spacecraft re-entered the atmosphere, it ejected the pilot, seat and all, at an altitude of 7,000 meters. It was the Soviet solution to the problem of land recovery. The mystery device attached to Sputnik 5 was for that purpose. The pilot would parachute down from that high altitude wearing a bulky spacesuit. Crazy, I know. The Soviets knew exactly how dangerous it was, of course. So much so that they gave Yuri Gagarin, the first man in space, a special 2-rank promotion before re-entry. Only Moscow could come up with this kind of plan. With total state control over information, they could easily pretend it never happened in the event of a failure. The boss passed the info on to NASA. It was their worst nightmare. The glory of mankind's first spaceflight was about to be stolen from them by the Soviet Union. It was Sputnik all over again. And the CIA was caught no less off guard. Their ineptitude had caused the fiasco in the first place. The Soviets' deception was brilliant. They'd woven a masterful tapestry of truth and fiction to convince the Americans their intelligence operations were proceeding as planned. No one but the boss could have seen through it. It was obvious the Soviets had some gifted minds working on their side. But that certainly didn't excuse the CIA's massive failure. The CIA wasn't done, though, and devised an ingenious plan to avoid taking responsibility. Luckily for them, a new president had been elected the previous November, John F. Kennedy. As he didn't know the case history when taking office, the CIA was able to feed lies to his new administration. They masked their own failures, placing the blame squarely on the boss's shoulders. After all, she'd selected an unreliable sleeper. They claimed she'd failed to make use of one of the most effective means of controlling a sleeper agent's actions: holding their family hostage. The boss was well aware that would have worked. She told me so later. But she couldn't
Hold
bring
them
herself to do
hostage?
it.
What the fuck?
It seems clear it had to do with having her own child taken. She could never inflict the same pain on anyone else. The CIA used that against her. In his election campaign, Kennedy had vowed to close the missile gap with Moscow. If America lost the space race, that promise would be worthless. The fact that the president had no links to the philosophers only made things worse. He was completely unaware of the secret networks she'd used to complete her mission. In his eyes, she was no better than a traitor. The fate that awaited her was cruel beyond belief.
Oh shit. I'm gonna listen to another one.
The order came down from above. The boss would take the official blame for the sleeper's betrayal. More so, she'd serve as the guinea pig for NASA's manned spaceflight program. By then, NASA had gotten as far as sending a chimp named Ham into space.
But earlier it was
Now
Sam.
came a whole battery of ground tests to pave the way for a human to take its place.
Is it Sam or Ham?
High-G tests, zero-G tests, spacesuit tests, simulations in pressurized oxygen environments. Some of the tests were highly dangerous. Too dangerous for the Mercury 7, who were by then already media darlings. So the boss was made to stand in for them. She could have refused the order, argued her side of the story against the CIA, but she didn't. The way she saw it, her military experience made her a potentially valuable asset to those tests. She felt it was her duty to accept. She soon proved herself right. The boss was more than just a guinea pig. She drew on her experience to give the staff focused advice exactly where it was needed. NASA's space program took off again. At the rate they were going, putting a man in space seemed within reach. The higher-ups at NASA were impressed with her talents. They took to calling her the 8th astronaut, the Mercury Lady. The photo I sent you was taken around that time. I suppose maybe they were planning to use it as propaganda, the world's first female astronaut. But then, just as things were looking up, they hit a new snag. The government told them to add a window. There were no windows in NASA's spacecraft back then. Ham never saw the stars around him. But Washington insisted. Their sources told them Soviet spaceships had windows. Space exploration as a form of propaganda in itself. After all, what was the point of sending a man into space if he couldn't tell the world what he'd seen? Most of all, though, they simply couldn't have the Russians doing something they couldn't. It was sheer madness, and everybody knew it. NASA was already facing impossible deadlines. Now they were adding yet another element of uncertainty to the mix. Installing a window would both weaken the spacecraft and make it harder to shield the occupant from cosmic rays. They weren't about to put their Mercury 7 golden boys in that kind of danger. So the boss was chosen as the pilot instead. Even if she made it up into space, she was given less than a 20% chance of returning to Earth alive. But she took it in stride, even helping them make the necessary design changes to the Mercury capsule. It was like going to work every day at NASA to make her own coffin. Then, without warning, the US received intelligence that the Soviets had moved their Vostok spacecraft to the launch site. The launch was set for the following day, April 12th, 1961.
Shit. You know what? We're just gonna listen to the rest of them.
America couldn't let the Soviets beat them with Vostok. NASA was forced to cut short the testing process and move the launch date up. They pulled out all the stops to get it scheduled for the earliest hours of the next day. The spacecraft would be launched from Cape Canaveral in the dead of night. For the flight path, they chose a course that would take her as far east as possible. She'd be able to see the Earth in daylight from the window, at least for a little while. The boss climbed into the Mercury capsule, having completed less than 80% of the regular flight procedures. Both the timing and the flight path were risky, and testing was far from complete. But NASA had no other choice. The boss, for her part, never expected to come home alive. She was going on a one-way trip, the American version of Laika the dog. and yet she went all the same. "Someone has to be first," she said. "If fate has chosen me, then I accept, for my country, for the balance of the world." That's how she saw things. My chances may be slim, but I'll take them. I've accepted my fate. If anyone can get through this, I can. Then, on April 12th at 1:30 in the morning, the boss entered space. It was nothing short of a miracle. First, that she'd made it in an incomplete spacecraft. And second, that her flight coincided almost exactly with Gagarin's. As the sun rose over the horizon, and cosmic rays began to bombard her through the window, she saw the Earth. I think you've heard the story before. It was a world without borders, a perfect jewel. All nations, all ideologies. They seemed so far away. It almost made her laugh, knowing that they'd risked so much to beat the Soviets by a few short minutes. If she'd seen Vostok from her window, she probably would have waved. But the two spacecraft were destined for very different fates. Gagarin circled the Earth and returned to the Soviet Union, safe and sound. The Mercury capsule, on the other hand, deviated from its planned re-entry angle. The addition of a window had thrown the capsule's aerodynamics off balance. The boss's coffin veered wildly off course and began to plunge earthward.
Then what? Then what happened?
The course deviation caused the capsule to miss its splashdown point by a wide margin. It didn't have enough time to decelerate before crashing into the sea. The force of the impact shattered the spacecraft before it started to sink like a stone. The boss used the last of her strength to escape to the surface. Her body was covered in bruises and scorched by radiation. It was a miracle she was still alive. She slipped into a coma and didn't regain consciousness for 6 months. To some, what was worst of all was that she had lost the space race to Gagarin by only a few minutes. That aside, it should have been a proud day for America. Its first manned spaceflight. Sadly, her accomplishment was kept out of the history books. An attempt to save face by Washington. In contrast to Gagarin's orbital flight, America had only managed a ballistic trajectory. Her flight time was much shorter, too. And most importantly, the Soviets had brought back both spacecraft and pilot safely. NASA couldn't even conjure up a half-hearted tale of heroic survival. The coup de grace, though, was the Soviet propaganda campaign that kicked into gear after the flight. The Earth was blue. Those were the words of Gagarin on his return, and the whole world was listening. In the blink of an eye, Gagarin was an international celebrity, earning accolades from every corner. It was a PR coup for the Soviet Union. Meanwhile, Washington could only grit its teeth in silence. They decided there was no value in making the boss's flight public, that it would only make matters worse. So they buried it instead, labeling it a dark mission. NASA and the CIA did everything in their power to erase all traces of the boss from Project Mercury. The result was the photo you see before you. Not a bad job,
I wish
huh?
we could see the photo.
Not only did they expunge her flight from the records, they denied that she ever existed. And that wasn't the end of it. As an alibi, the military claimed she'd taken part in the CIA's botched Bay of Pigs plot to take back Cuba. And when the boss was finally well enough to return to service, they wouldn't take her back. She was forced to go underground. In the public eye, the boss was still a hero of World War II. In reality, though, she was anything but that. She was a non-person, fit only for the blackest of black ops. In effect, she may as well have been dead. Gagarin went on a worldwide tour in front of millions of adoring fans. The boss, meanwhile, was a walking secret, unable to breathe a word about her experience. The authorities in Washington had this to say: "Why are you still here? If only you'd had the decency to give us a nice quote like Gagarin and then die an honorable death, you'd have gone down as a hero." 3 weeks later, on May 5th, Alan Shepard, one of the Mercury 7, made his own ballistic flight. They sure didn't try to cover up his achievement. Of course, he owed his success to the lessons learned from the boss's tragedy. Before sending Gagarin up into space, the Soviets had used a mannequin called Ivan Ivanovich to test the landing procedure, which would make the boss America's version of a crash test dummy. But she didn't care. "I'm happy to be the dummy," she said, "if it'll help the project succeed. Nothing would give me greater satisfaction." And that still wasn't the end of it. The boss had worked through the anti-Moscow faction of the Soviet Union's philosophers to place the sleeper agent, and at some point, the Soviets found out about it. Yet the Americans remained oblivious to the end. Even the philosopher network the boss plugged into never tipped them off to the double cross. That could only mean one of two things. Either the pro-Moscow philosophers had intervened, or the anti-Moscow philosophers had been turned. Either way, it was a situation their American counterparts couldn't stand. To preserve the philosopher's good name, and to repay her debt, so to speak, the boss once again made her way into the Soviet Union. There, she found herself face to face with the Soviets' own agent.
And then that's where Snake Eater started, right?
And who should she find awaiting her return to Russia? The one who'd turned her sleeper against her, who'd fed them lies all this time. It was her former comrade in arms, the father of her child, the man known as the Sorrow.
Oh, that's right.
He didn't know it was the boss who'd sent the sleeper. Or to be more precise, the Soviet philosophers never told him. Former lovers, forced to fight to the death. One would live and one would die, she told me. That was the revenge the Soviet philosophers had in store for me. If both of them survived, their child would suffer in their place. They were left with no other option. The boss shot him. He offered no resistance. When she returned from the Soviet Union, there was no place left for her to go. She'd sacrificed everything. Everything. For her country. And in return, they treated her like a dead woman. She was made a scapegoat for no good reason. Only because power had changed hands in Washington. Any lesser being would have long since cracked. It was then that one of her old SAS comrades reached out to her, Major Zero, and so Fox was born. She undertook a mission that, well, you should know better than anybody. You are a part of it. 20 days after Shepard's flight, President Kennedy announced that America would put a man on the moon. Without the intelligence the boss obtained, America's space program would never have caught up. Armstrong and Aldrin might never have walked on the moon, but the Americans' gain had cost the boss her health, her honor, and the man she loved. The word tragedy doesn't even begin to describe what she endured. The Soviets continued their manned space flights, and in 1963, Valentina Tereshkova became the so-called first woman in space. It's said they took their cue from NASA's long-buried Mercury Lady project. And so that, Snake, is the mission that kept her away from you for so long. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why not use me as her agent? She knew I'd never even think of betraying her. I think it's because she didn't want to drag you into it. She probably knew what was going to happen. To complete the mission, she'd have to turn to the philosophers, and once she did that, whatever came of it, there'd be a price to pay. No one understood that better than her. So please, Snake, let it go. When she gave me the photo, she left me to decide whether or not to pass it along to you. I know she was torn about it, just as I was. She knew you'd probably blame yourself. Why did she hold on to it for so long? That, I can't say. To remind her of how much it hurt to be erased. She wasn't that kind of person. No. I think she meant it to be a message to you. She had her identity, her life, taken away. But she wanted you, of all people, to know the truth. Snake, you've probably already figured this out, but it's no accident that I'm only now sending you something I've withheld for so long. Little Bird tells me you recently made a big decision. You and the boss are different people. I understand that. And I'm not trying to second guess you. I simply wanted you to know what she saw, how she felt. That's all. Keep it with you, Snake. Keep it deep inside. Don't ever forget the path she took. Because you and I are the only people on this earth who know the truth.
Boss, I'm sorry, but I can't.
Can't forget the boss. He can't let the boss go. That's so sad. And that's everybody. That's everything from the file library. Wow. Me and Eva are the only ones that know the boss's true story. That she was betrayed. That her country basically betrayed her, but because she's so loyal. Again, of course. Is it going to be 3 times in a row? That's what I was thinking from the first time. Or the second time when he disappeared. Alright guys, this is what I've been trying to work for, is trying to unlock more main missions. So we're on the mission search 3. Dude, I want to know why he keeps escaping. Okay, I want to know if you can see him right now. Give you 10 seconds. If you can't see him, he's right over here. Oh, right here, nice. Oh, we got it. That was an S rank? Oh. Dude, doing these missions unlocks so many new things. Okay, so now we have to hold everybody up. Oh, okay, I've got a banana. Why am I holding him up with the banana? Alright, I think we got everybody in this area. Oh, an SVD. Oh shit, so we got to volunteer rumors of MSF through heroism. I did, I got the banana. All right, I'm gonna look up like all the other missions. I'm sorry for having to look it up, but we need to end this series. I need to know what's left. All right, well, guys, I'm actually gonna end the series there. I've looked into it. Ha, tricked you. We are not finished. I was told, and through the comments, this comment specifically right here, and further research, that getting this true ending and will tie in directly. I'll be a little, and through the research, people said it'll be a little lost if, especially for me who just played the entire game of Peace Walker, probably would be a little lost at like what the hell just happened from the ending to into Ground Zero. So I'm just like, all I know is that there's 6 of these Zardanov search missions, and there is a battle with Metal Gear Zeke, which is our Metal Gear. So again, I was just kind of like, who in my head, and during that recording, I was just done. It was a 7-hour recording. I was done. I wanted to go to sleep, but all day today I was like, man, even before that comment came out, I was like, man, I really want to play and finish. I want to know what happens. And yes, I got a haircut. I don't care what you say about it. The headset makes it look like I've got a very little hair now. I mean, I do have very little hair. It is hot. It is 100 degrees here in Florida, and I also freshly showered, so the hair like does whatever it wants. Just in case anybody cared, because I know it. I think it looks a little weird in the headset at the moment.
Snake, Zadornov's disappeared again. Get out there and retrieve him.
All right, I'm gonna stop right here. I just had to make sure that it was recording the audio, because like you've seen in earlier in the episode and on the YouTube post, I'll go and record all that later, probably tomorrow, but gameplay is going to take longer to record. I just had to make sure that it was recording the audio, because like you've seen in earlier in the episode and on the YouTube post, I'll go and record all that later, probably tomorrow, but gameplay is going to take longer to record. All right, let's
Find Zadornov, Snake.
Shit. No, let's restart this. Let's restart this mission and put the sneaking suit on. I think I hit restart mission and not mission select. Okay, no, I did. Oh, I didn't. All right, third time's a charm.
Snake. Mother base is already jam-packed. Lay off the Fulton recoveries until there's more room.
There's not going to be any more room, so I'm just going to collect people until I can min-max and just fire as many people as I can. Alright, shit, we have a shit ton of places we can go in here. Bullets I'm not too worried about.
The base is practically overflowing. Until some of these people leave, further Fulton recovery. Stop pushing!
So,
we have a situation. Backup team. Head over and investigate.
What happens if I send one more?
No more Fulton recoveries for now. Mother base is so packed it's standing room all. Men overboard.
Okay. I won't send anybody else.
Can't be imagined.
Well, they should have. I bet it's like a hard drive limit thing. They couldn't put more than 350 people in there.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
Curses.
Oh, this one actually has a cutscene. Well, cutscene. Literally just that one graphic panel. The other ones didn't, but that one did. Okay. I can't get rid of Zardanar.
I got him, Kaz.
Slipped up again. Acknowledged. Bring him on in.
I don't know why, like, why He keeps escaping. Okay, so we unlocked Paparazzi Punyan mission. Base defense, of course, another, and then Chrysalis Type 2. Those two missions, what the hell? We need more mechs, so I'm gonna go and get this chopper real quick, and so the whole what you got to do in between the search missions is basically do a bunch of side missions. I think it's like 2 to 3 to 4 depending on which one you're on. I think it maybe increases by 1 in between each one. So yeah.
Commencing mission. You're in for some heavy combat with this one. Try and make it back in one piece.
So it's also a thing, say if you do all the side missions before doing the search mission, that counts as well, I believe. Yes.
The leader's down.
Yes.
It's over.
I may have not, but that's fine. I may have not Fulton recovery to him, but that's what alright. We got the helicopter, that's all that matters.
Mission complete. Come on home.
Alright, so we're gonna do another mech battle.
Commencing mission. You're in for some heavy combat.
For you, it's just like that. You just see me getting it. But for me, holy shit, dude, that shit takes some time. Because a lot of it's just time gated by when he puts out more backup.
Mission complete. Come on home.
Dude, y'all do not know how hard that one was. It did it first try, but it was every enemy. Every 2 out of 3 enemies had a Law rocket launcher. And dude, you had to dwindle his health down so far before he got out. You've been awarded a new codename, Cat, title given to soldiers who mainly use medium-range weapons. Oh, okay.
Snake, you're not gonna believe this, but
Yeah.
Zadornov's missing again.
Kaz, are you sure somebody's not, I don't know, letting him out on purpose?
You think I have time to assemble a mole hunt? Man, this guy isn't just good, he's so good it's scary.
If he's doing this alone, that is.
Anyway, he left a trail, so we've got a good idea of where he's probably hiding. You know what the mission is. Find Zadornov, Snake.
Will do, will do.
Snake, Zadornov's escaped custody again. You have to track him down.
Who keeps letting this man out? Is it you, Kaz? Is it you, Kaz? Are you the one doing it? Is he gonna be in the houses again? Is he in the same house?
Not this one.
Nope. Dude, yeah, like I said, it's gonna be the very last one.
Kaz, I'm inside the facility. There's rows and rows of trucks here.
Zadornov should be somewhere in that area. Find him.
Oh my god, we're doing this again. 48732 63 Ben. We're gonna try this one.
Nothing.
Again, same thing. So it would have been a second chance to get Hideo. Yeah, it's okay. So it's 777. And then Ben.
Damn it. You found me.
Of course we had to do that all over again.
I found him, Kaz.
Close, but no cigar. Not for you anyway. Snake, we're coming to pick him up.
Make sure this time he's handcuffed. Well, I don't know. He's got that big red hand. Who knows what he can do. I have a special staff recruiter. Honeybee. Pilot Bunting. Is that the special one? If you're out of rations, why not have a snack instead, like curry? What makes her special? Or maybe Honeybee is special? Skills, voice actor. Okay, maybe that's why he's special. He doesn't have anything special. Like, skills-wise. So,
Okay, you're done with that area. Head for the goal. You did it! Keep it up! Fire! Mission complete. Come on home. Snake, Zadornov's done it again.
Great.
Snake, Zadornov's done it again.
Give me a break.
Snake, listen. Zadornov's done it again.
Come on.
I hate to entertain the thought, but this might be an inside job.
why does he keep repeating himself?
What the hell's he after anyway?
No clue. Can't imagine he's just out to annoy us, though.
You know, it might not be worth keeping him here if he's not gonna join us.
You may be right. I thought it might boost our Russian compatriots' morale, but okay. I'll think it over.
Let's hope he's just playing hide and seek.
I've added a new mission. Go get Zadornov.
Well, let's go get Zadornov. Ooh, we got the XFIM-92A design. Accept a catfish as a volunteer.
Someone's planning to extract enemy soldiers via Fulton recovery. Thwart their attempt by shooting down the balloons. We're calling this the Puyan mission. Support our troops. Shoot those balloons.
The Puyan mission. A can do. Who would be Fulton recovering our own soldiers? I thought that technology was proprietary to us.
So all I have to do here is shoot down the Fulton recovery balloons, right?
Right. And don't shoot the soldier dangling underneath by mistake. I'd go with a sniper rifle, but really any weapon will work as long as you aim carefully.
Balloon popping.
You might get more balloons if you do this one as a co-ops. The, sky's the limit. Look at it this way. It'd get real depressing real quick if every single mission were a bloodbath. It's good to have a nice, relaxing challenge like this once in a while, you know? Oh, come on, don't those Fulton balloons look tasty? Like big, juicy, floating pigs?
Yeah, sure, whatever. So, this is called a Puyan mission. What's that supposed to mean?
When I was a kid, my neighbors had a pet pig they called Puyan. Every time I see a Fulton balloon, it reminds me of that little porker.
Okay, but the objective here is to pop those balloons, right? Doesn't sound like a good idea getting emotionally attached.
Good point. Man, if only those were real pigs dangling from the balloons. Now wouldn't that be something?
Ugh.
Okay, whatever cause. Alright, well let's go in. Let's go in with a sneaking suit. We got a pistol and alright. Okay. What? Hold on, I gotta get up top. Oh yeah, you can't. Oh shit. Is it endless? Dude, I'm good at this.
Okay, you're done with that area. Head for the goal.
Oh. I got them all. That's gotta be an S rank. Of course it is. Alright, before we go on the search mission, guys, we're gonna go on Dead Man's Treasure.
Let's get this mission started. Complete the mission and...
We can't have any life regeneration items or weapons. I don't think I have it, but I think we should... Do we have a camera? Yeah. Alright. From every other game, when there's ghosts, we've been able to take pictures of it, but I've never done it. So, Peace Walker is going to be the first Metal Gear Solid game I take a picture of a ghost. It was there. What the hell? I saw it.
for the goal.
Oh my god, there it is.
You did it! Keep it up!
I got caw designs, whatever caw is. Horse smack roll.
Snake, Zadornov's escaped. You have to find him.
Where is he now? For real. Where the hell is he?
Find Zadornov and bring him back here with Fulton recovery.
Did I leave this here?
You should have disposed of him when you had the chance.
Our future is in your hands.
No, I guess I did. Well, I want this one because it's not damaged now. Wait, what is the area map? Okay, just this area. So he's... How many boxes did I leave here? Wait, oh my god, hold on. I accidentally broke his box. Wait, okay, good, I just restarted mission. Okay, so he's in a box.
Can't be imagining things.
Try using Fulton recovery on him.
No, hold on. Since we got in the box with Paz, I want to see if we can get in the box with him. Okay.
Find Zadornov, Snake.
Start talking. Damn.
People say there's a creature that'll give you... What?
Start talking.
Okay, I just want to see if he give me something special, but I guess not.
Okay, you're done with that area. Head for the... You did it! Keep it up!
Okay. That should be the last time we have to go and search for him. PB? Ooh, we got a PB pistol.
Kaz, I've located Zadornov.
Nice work. I knew you would. How could I be so stupid?
Please, just tell me what is going on. Why does he keep escaping? Who's letting him escape? Oh! We finally got an upgrade to the fucking radar. Okay, guys, so I just found a spoiler-free little, what do you call it? Guide on what I need to be doing. And so we've got all the 6 times. And so we have to just we have to make sure Zeke's not doing an outer ops. So we'll do one more mission, take Zeke out of outer ops, and then continue to do another mission until Kaz tells us he's escaped one more time, and then we need to do, it'll give us the final mission. Because the first guide I read said I had to do like these type 2 battles, but but that seems to be not the case.
Mission complete. Come on home.
Oh my god.
Again, Snake.
Zadornov? What's he got, an escape fetish?
He clearly has friends on the inside, but we've got no way of knowing who.
Persistent bastard, I'll give him that. Where is he this time?
That's the thing. He must have found and gotten rid of the transmitter. We've got no idea where he is. Snake, think you can find him?
We can't just let him run around. Makes us look bad.
I'll say. Since we can't locate him, I'm afraid I can't add a new mission. You know what to do, Snake.
Yep. So since he can't add a new mission, we have to get all that criteria, and I think the reason he couldn't add the mission is because of that right there. We need to get rid of finish this outer ops and get Zeke out of here. Oh my god, no. So I misread the thing.
Commence target practice. As a special treat, you can practice...
I have to go to target practice 01 as Snake This is... How would you figure this out? I'm wondering how people figured this out.
Welcome to the shooting range. Just the place for a little target practice, huh? When you're done, head over to the exit.
Yeah, you heard that. He's on the base. He's just...
Big boss!
Dude sucks.
My work is done. What are you talking about? V for victory! Rocket! Peace!
What the fuck was that? What Gundam shit?
Kaz, I found Zadornov. I had to kill him.
Oh, his mouth is finally
So much for a
moving.
fugitive.
Something's not right here. I'm thinking he had a friend.
Someone inside MSF. Huh?
What's going on?
It's Zeke. It's moving.
What?
There's somebody inside. I can see them. Snake, get up here. Pronto.
Peace. V for victory. What hand is that? This hand? This hand? Who knows?
Took you long enough, big boss.
Pause?
Boss. Get down from there before you hurt somebody.
Maybe I want to hurt somebody.
What's going on? She's not herself.
Oh, I am myself, all right.
Why is she naked? Why is she nude? Why does she have naked? What?
Self.
What? What? General purpose. What? Uh-huh.
Kaz, shut that thing down.
I can't. The controls aren't responding.
Then how's it moving?
I made some modifications. This machine was meant to have a human pilot.
Modifications? Paz, what are you...
Never thought I'd be into machines, huh?
Then Zadornov's escape was a diversion.
Paz, what are you doing?
I'm taking it back.
Taking it back? Where?
To our leaders. To Cypher.
Cypher? Who's Cypher?
This weapon is Cypher's creation.
Paz, get down from there.
Do not call me that. I am Pacifica Ocean.
Pacifica Ocean? What the... What?
My name, my age, my mission.
Cypher gave them all to me. My entire life has but one purpose. To carry out Cypher's plan. The nasty tobacco. The angel of peace crap. The whole thing with a dream routine. I am through with all of it.
Paz, you can't.
Told you not to call me that. It makes me want to puke. Everything is going exactly as we planned. Now the
Real Peace Walker project is finally about to reach its goal.
The real project.
Once upon a time, there were two young men who idolized the hero called the Boss. One day, they suddenly lost the point of origin. This Cypher, that was like a mother to them. Unable to come to terms with their sorrow, they each decided to carry on the will of their hero. But they could not agree on what that meant. In the end, they became bitter enemies, and the zero from which they both started was split into two. And you have been on the wrong path ever since. There is no happily ever after waiting for you in the end, unless you obey the will of Cypher. Where does an army without borders call home? A state without borders, of course. A world without borders.
A world without borders.
The Cold War order is about to collapse. The age of electronic intelligence is about to begin. The NSA, CSS, NRO, DIA, etc., etc. The intelligence community that has long bickered amongst itself will be united in a world governed by electrons. Cypher will gather all information, watching over the world and guiding the will of its people, all while they remain blissfully unaware. There will be no one to oppose them. For the first time, the world will be ruled by a single will. Until the new order is in place, you and your army will be the force that protects it. You will be Cypher's deterrent, pulling the wool over the eyes of the old order with your charisma and military prowess. Accept our offer, and we will allow you to retain control of MSF and Zeke.
That's an offer.
The boss threw down her gun, and with it, her life's calling. You, her disciple, have never been able to do that. You are too afraid to let go.
I was made to fight. I am a gun.
Is that so? Then what do you call this? Is it a gun too? You are a lousy liar. Admit it. This thing is a monstrosity, a product of your own fear. But not Cypher. Cypher thought of something different. Cypher's going to control guns.
Control guns?
That is right. Not deter, control. It is the ultimate approach to the illusion of peace.
Control power. You're gonna be disappointed.
Then we are done. Thank you for playing. Better luck next time. The offer is rescinded. And now the ultimatum. Zeke is already in nuclear strike mode.
What?
I'm taking the weapon you built and using it to launch a nuclear strike on the east coast of the United States.
You're insane. What are you after?
But wait, here is your consolation prize. We are about to show the world just how dangerous a gang of outlaws, an army without borders, can be. You and your men will become pariahs, and you will be wiped off the face of the earth. Rather than heroes, you will be seen as a well-armed extremist cult prone to indiscriminate outbursts of nuclear aggression. You will give rise to a new world order, an age of deterrence defined by its fear of extremist cult influence. Do you like the picture I am painting? Big boss. When all is said and done, peace is nothing but a fantasy. A game is a game. You either win or you lose. All you can do is fight. Stop me if you can. The peace sign is the V of victory. Say, peace.
Why is it filling up with water?
She's gonna launch a nuke. Snake, we've got to stop her. Whatever it takes. Awaiting your orders.
Stop me if you can.
Oh my god. So Paz is in control of all this. Her name's not Paz, her name is Pacifica Ocean. Her age, I don't know. I hope she is of age because obviously she is not well dressed. I'm not understanding why she has to be dressed the way she is. It is filling up with water, so maybe that is the reason why. It needs to keep cool in order to run. I'm not too sure on that one. So is Cypher zero? Because I know in Metal Gear Solid 4, it was basically told to me that there was, while we were doing what we were doing at Solid Snake, there was a war between Big Boss and Zero going on because they had a feud on how the boss wanted her legacy to be upheld and put out into the world. So is this where it starts? Was Zero's program and people called Cypher? I don't remember that. just wow. I'm loving it. I will finish this. I will pick this battle up tomorrow. Not tomorrow as in the next episode. Tomorrow as in for me, because it's 3 in the morning. But this episode should still be coming out on scheduled on Monday. At today, the day you're watching. Because yesterday would have been Sunday. You would have seen Uncharted, the end of Uncharted 1. Yesterday I should be recording the Zeke battle and the outro and editing all that. And you will see this on Monday. So cut to future me doing the battle. Hola, futuro ahora. So we are gonna do the Zeke battle now. Oh, it's dang it, I don't want to host. Alright, is there any briefing? I'm gonna have to go and listen to all this later. It's gonna be annoying. You guys wouldn't know the difference. But literally the hour and 45 minutes or 44 minutes that had no audio was all of this. It was everything. It was not all of this. It was sorry again. I don't know where it was, but it was based, I think it was about herself and people and all of the data files that had no audio. So I have to go back and record while playing all of these so I can just edit in, and you guys won't even notice. You wouldn't even know until right now that had no audio. And to thinking yourself that, man, an hour and 45 minutes of this had no audio. Yeah, that's just how good I am. I love you. I'm going to assume the sneaking suit isn't going to work. We're going to take what we took Peace Walker down with. What would the weak parts
She's
be?
gonna launch a nuke. Snake, we've got to stop her. Whatever it takes. Awaiting your orders.
Stop me if you can.
Sung by Pause.
Before she can launch that nuke. We've activated the hatches up on deck. You can use them as cover so long as they're open.
Pause is singing to us while we fight her. The English voice actor somewhat has the same tone of voice. Which is... Oh, wait. What are these computers?
Other base's gun platforms to use. The control panel is on the edge of the deck. Strike request acknowledged. We'll need you to tag the target directly. First, make sure you're safe by pressing up against a wall. Make sure you're safe by pressing up against the wall. Then use the L1 button to locate the enemy's position and press the attack button to tag him.
Oh, we haven't stopped her from...
Do you have a target or not? We're reporting a strike for now.
Yeah, abort strike. I quite haven't, you didn't fully explain it the first go round. Zeke!
You to tag the target directly.
All right.
First, make sure you're safe by pressing up against a wall. First, make sure you're safe by pressing up against the wall. Then use the L1 button to locate the enemy's position, and press the attack button to tag him. panel is on the edge of the deck. Target confirmed. Commence attack.
Okay, there we go. Oh, she destroyed it.
Snake's getting distracted by the gun platform. Now's your chance to attack.
Where were you at? Where you at?
Rocket launcher's reloaded. Let him have it.
Come on. Come on. Come on. I'm trying.
Rocket launcher ready to fire.
Oh, I can't walk up that. Oh, I canceled it? That sucks. Oh, you son of a bitch. Hold on.
Rocket launcher ready to fire.
What? Why didn't it work?
Transport catapult ready to launch.
Yes, oh my god. Oh.
Rocket launcher ready to fire.
Oh, come on. Are you... Oh, okay. So I just can't stand up against that windshield.
What happened? Snake! Say something!
Why? So I wasn't getting it. Like, I was hitting it, but it wasn't working. Oh, good thing that hit. Sorry, I'm not talking. I'm highly concentrating, and I'm enjoying the music. I hope you are too. This is an epic final boss fight. Oh, no, no, you got stuck, boy.
Transport catapult ready to launch. The gun platform's back up and running.
Oh,
it's
shit.
all yours.
Yes. It's our moment to shine.
Rocket launcher ready to fire.
Oh, I fucked it up.
Rocket launcher ready to fire.
I think it's because I'm launching the chaff grenades, maybe.
Rocket launcher ready to fire.
Why isn't it working?
Rocket launcher ready to fire. Supplies are loaded in the transport catapult. Fire away.
I'm trying. It didn't let me do it. Why didn't it let me? I was about to say, where's all the ammo that it supposedly dropped me?
Rocket launcher ready to fire.
See, what? It said, I don't get it. Am I not allowed to? Dude, cause your missile thing sucks, cause it doesn't lock on properly.
Rocket launcher ready to fire.
If it works that, why is it working that time?
Zeke's getting distracted by the gun platform. Now's your chance to attack.
Dude, we're gonna do this first try. What was that?
Rocket launcher's reloaded. Let him have it. Rocket launcher ready to fire.
Oh yeah. I don't know why I was having trouble with that last time. Oh man. Is that it? Is that everything?
It is no use. Zeke is out of my control. This is where it ends. Listen to me, Big Boss. As long as your army is needed, the world will never know true peace. The peace you know will be fleeting, elusive. They will use you, disgrace you, and then finally discard you like they were cancer to society. This is the path you have chosen.
So did she eject into the ocean, or did the thing did Zeke blow up?
Pause.
Outer Heaven. Oh, it means I completed chapter 5. Oh, nice. Ooh, we got an A rank with the Zeke. Nice.
Who would have thought that little girl was working against us?
Tell me about it. She had everybody fooled, me included. Can't believe I didn't pick up on anything.
Snake, there's no point in beating yourself up over the past. But hey, maybe you should put in some practice against Zeke in case this sort of thing ever happens again. In any case, I need to go talk to Dr. Strangelove. Zeke still isn't ready.
Huey!
Zeke still isn't ready, but we've been using him in these Outer Ops missions.
How's it going? How's Zeke look?
The attitude control AI had a backup, so it should be able to walk.
Really? Well, that's good.
Beyond that, it's up to the creator. Stop! Don't come any closer, Doctor.
There's something I've been meaning to ask you. Do you despise me?
Doctor, are you asking me out?
No, not at all.
No? Pity. Because I've just had my heart broken by someone else.
What?
I only like those who can stand on their own. If you fancy me, then come walk with me. Who knows what miracles might happen. Love is blind after all. Take your time. I'll be waiting.
Aww. So she's learned to love all? Is that? Because, like... Go get him, Tiger.
Snake!
Who's that? Oh, Cause. That's a cool ass lighter. Not gonna lie.
That name Paz mentioned at the end, Cipher, it's a code. It means empty. It also means...
0.
A world of electronic intelligence, built on codes. And at the center of it all, a 0.
Cause.
Look, boss. I owe you an apology. Hear me out, okay?
Sure.
I knew Paz and the professor. I knew who they really were all along.
Cause.
I used them.
I suppose you were the one that brought them to Columbia in the first place, huh?
Guilty as charged. Paz wasn't just CIA, you know. She was working for the KGB, too. And for this Cipher group. In other words, she was a triple agent.
You knew all of this?
Wait, let me finish. Listen. MSF never would have gotten this big if it weren't for them. This mercenary business we built. Someday it's gonna be a new driving force in the world economy.
Is that your goal all along?
The Cold War's not gonna last forever. Sooner or later it's gonna give way to an era of regional conflicts and terrorism. A paradigm shift from counter-communism to counter-terrorism. In the new age, armies won't be tied to states, and war will become a business. We'll be a valuable commodity. There'll be clients all over the world who need our services. MSF is only the beginning. What we're creating here is a revolution in itself. Am I right?
Cause it's not going to be that easy.
What do you mean?
This whole Peace Walker thing has left our mark on the history of the old order. We've put ourselves on the radar of intelligence agencies and governments east and west. The whole world probably knows about us now.
Including that Cipher outfit.
We've let ourselves interfere with the times, with the Cold War system of deterrence. We're an army without a flag. We weren't supposed to take sides in international affairs, but we did.
I see your point. So what happens to us now?
We'll be hunted.
Not everybody's gonna be happy with us, huh?
You're damn right. We upset the global military balance of power.
And these people would rather our army without borders not exist at all?
They're gonna come knocking real soon. There's no turning back now. We're a wrench in the old system of deterrence. As long as the times refuse to change, we're gonna make a hell of a racket.
Then who are we gonna fight?
The establishment. Anybody who tries to restore the old balance wants to snuff us out of existence.
Which establishment?
It won't be a particular country or ideology that hunts us.
Who then?
We are gonna be fighting the biggest beast of all. The Times. 10 years ago, the Times rejected the boss and killed her. And now, we're the ones being tested. Will the Times erase us? Or work with us? It's gonna be a lonely battle. No good or evil. No winners or losers. Business will have to wait. The question we have to ask ourselves now is, can we survive long enough to see the 21st century?
I'm with you, boss. We'll see how it turns out together.
He's missing half of his... Well, no, he's covering it, so... Never mind. Never mind. I just didn't see the bit go into his mouth.
The hunt is on, Kaz. And the whole world's on our tail. Assemble, men.
Holy shit. Kaz knew this whole fucking time? Who are we to... the US and Soviet Union agree on the framework of Assault 2. The treaty limits number... Is this all the same from Ezekiel 3? Yep, that's the same. 14 political prisoners, I think. Yep, that's the same. Former president of Costa Rica admits to collaborating with CIA. Something North and South Vietnam, I think that's the same. Apollo 18 dock in orbit. The FSNL-LN, yep. Invades Afghanistan. I don't remember that. Dr. Emmerich becomes a father. His name is Hal, yep. The Berlin Wall falls. 1994. Okay, 95. That's the new thing. In 95, the year I was born, 30 years ago, Big Boss triggers the Outer Heaven Uprising. All right. In 2005, Miller is found assassinated in his home by an unknown... Who could that be? Oh, wait. Hold on. If we... So, Master in MGS1 is Miller, is the same Miller as this, is Kaz Miller. Because he worked with Big Boss, right? And Metal Gear Solid didn't take place in 2005. Did we learn that Miller actually lived? Because it was Snake that was just impersonating Miller. I'm not too sure. We've already seen the credits, so you guys won't see them. So if there's anything secret after that, I'll show you. Produced and directed by Hideo Kojima once again. Oh.
We will forsake our countries. We will leave our motherlands behind us and become one with this earth. We have no nation, no philosophy, no ideology. We go where we're needed, fighting not for country, not for government, but for ourselves. We need no reason to fight. We fight because we are needed. We will be the deterrent for those with no other recourse. We are soldiers without borders, our purpose defined by the era we live in. We will sometimes have to sell ourselves and services. If the times demand it, we'll be revolutionaries, criminals, terrorists. And yes, we may all be headed straight to hell. But what better place for us than this? It is our only home, our heaven, and our hell. This is utter heaven.
Big boss, big boss, big boss. Alright, we got turtle because of heroism. Stealth gun, rank, whatever. Is that it? The music sounds very different, so something's changed. Something may not be finished. So we got the stealth gun. I'm gonna make that. Okay, so we didn't get a date with Kaz, because there's the date with Paz. So I looked into it, obviously different shirt, different recording, but still the same video. But I've looked into getting the date with Kaz, and one of two things that I keep finding that are conflicting is I have to either way both include that I need to do all of the custom battles for the Pupa, the Chrysalis, Peace Walker, and like all of the mechs that we did. The contradictor is whether or not we also need to do the Type 2 battles before doing the custom battles, because it will be, if we go with doing what everything is, it would be the Type 2 battles, then the custom battles, then the custom battle with Metal Gear Zeke, I believe. And then after that, we would unlock the date with Kaz. And I looked into it lore-wise. There is nothing lore-wise that adds in, besides making their relationship and giving just more lore on Big Boss and Kaz liking each other. There is no lore to further the story into Metal Gear Solid 5. I've tried to see if there's cutscenes. I tried to see if there's any specific dialogue that would be like, hey, we're going to be doing this. These are our next objectives. No, nothing like that. It is a date with Kaz that I am not going to grind for. Unless you guys want to see a live stream of it, if one comment gets 10, 20 likes, then maybe, or if we get 10, 20 comments asking to get the date with Kaz, then we will. But other than that, we have completed Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. This is the completion of it. The next Metal Gear Solid video you see on this channel, Let's Play wise, because judging from the poll right now, it's only 3 people that have polled. People want a reaction video instead of a reaction live stream, so we're going to go and do that. But the next Let's Play of Metal Gear Solid you see will be Ground Zero. So leave your comments down below of your favorite Metal Gear Solid from 1 through Peace Walker moment so far. I'll respond to as many as I can. I will like and heart all of them. I love you. Please subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.